Welcome back to the VCT Game Changers APAC Series Open 3 Day number 3. I'm your host, Jenny Julie, and with me on the desk is the amazing Zach. I'm so happy we get to work together finally today. I know, right? It's been a bit of a long year. I think it's taken 3 opens before this duo managed to happen, but it's also been a pretty long few days of playoffs. How are we feeling about what the teams have been cooking up these last few days?
I've been very excited, of course. Firstly, I think Jenny, they decided that our power together would be a little bit too much for everyone to deal with. But they finally okayed to unleash us upon the gatherings here. But talking about the game so far, they have been absolutely phenomenal. Sure, all of them have been kind of these 2-0 finishes that you wouldn't often expect, but that just shows the caliber, because even if it's 2-0, some of these games were into overtime. Of course, you had SMG finding those 13-3 stomps. We're not going to talk about them yet, but the rest of the teams, a lot of these games very close, excellent gameplay coming out individually, and I think that just sets the standard for the rest of the year. I mean, you're heading up to Elite, all of these games, you expect them to get more and more competitive, and that has seemed to be the case so far.
Yeah, and I actually playoffs, it is that 5-day long thing that we see on the broadcast. My personal favorite is actually around day 3, day 4, literally today, because today is when we traditionally see the top 6 become the top 4. So this is kind of where we're starting to see the top teams just kind of leaving the rest of the pack behind. We're going to take a look at the roadmap for all of these teams to even make it to today. So we are in stage 1 open. We are in the 3rd open of the year. We did have open 1 as well as open 2 in the earlier part of the year. Of course, each open did have that sweet $10,000 prize pool per competition, and the whole point of these 3 opens, right, is to qualify 6 teams through to Elite. Spoiler alert, I think that 5 teams have pretty much already qualified, and we're kind of the top 5 are kind of playing for seeding, playing for that prize money at this point, but always good to get a bit more of that competition EXP under your belt, and we're kind of playing for the 6th team that will make it through. Stage 2 will be that last chance qualifier that will be going on next month, and stage 3, of course, we will have Elite later on in the year. It's what all of these teams are fighting for, and we've got the top 8 teams that did qualify this time around for the Open 3 playoffs. This time in the Swiss qualifier, we did see 58 teams, so pretty sizable a number of teams that are still participating in the Open, which is great to see.
It's always nice to have that extra amount of participation, but looking at these qualified teams, right, of course, immediately that bottom row just jumps at you. All 4 of these teams, they've already qualified. No biggie for them. I think that Sight and WJ is that 15 that we were talking about qualifying it, and now we're just waiting for that 6th slot to decide itself out. But before we talk more about that, let's take a look at that prize pool, like you mentioned there, Jenny. 10,000 USD for that prize pool. In total, of course, first place walking away with 3,500. I could buy a lot of ramen for that money, but anyway, I'm digressing.
That's literally 3,500 cups of ramen.
Exactly.
That's 10 years.
That ends.
10 years, literally 10 years.
Yeah, but still, across the board, it's gonna be money for everybody. But like you mentioned, the money, it's nice, sure, it's something to play for. But at the end of the day, getting that ticket, punching it through to Elite, that's gonna be kind of the focus for a lot of these teams here, and getting that better seeding in the tournament as it progresses. Now, we talked about the 5 teams that have qualified, but today's games, right, they might have a chance at deciding who that 6th team is. I think that currently Global Esports is that team at that 6th position, but if Deviant Topaz can make a clean run throughout the brackets, it might just be them walking away with that 6th place at Elite.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the way that the math works out. So GE Phoenix, unfortunately, we did say goodbye to them yesterday, so that means that they do have a total of 150 circuit points, 110 from Open 1 and 2, and then 40 points from yesterday's 7th, 8th place finish. Deviant Topaz currently have 55 points, so the only way that they could knock out GE Phoenix to take that 6th spot is if they get that full 100 points by winning Open 3 to knock GE Phoenix out. So that would be one hell of a storyline that our script writers have cooked up for us. But day 3, we never say never. You don't know what's gonna happen, am I right?
Exactly, and Deviant, they've looked excellent over the course of this event. Sure, their first game, it didn't go as expected, but to be fair, they were also dealing with one of the more tougher opponents, for lack of a better phrase, over the course of that first day. But today, they're facing another titan in the field, RRQ Kaguya, knocked down early on by Full Send Sapphire to that lower bracket. And now, to stay alive in this tournament, they're going to have to deal with the old queens of APAC. For 2 years, this particular roster with Inari reigns supreme. All of us know that. But now they've been looking a little bit shaky.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely showing a bunch of chinks in their armor. That's going to be our Series 1 for today. Series 2, later on, of course, we will see Scythe and WJ facing off versus Orang Utan. I think Orang Utan in particular will be wanting to have a bit of a stronger showing, I think, for this Open number 3. Of course, you know, both teams, they have qualified already, are playing for that seeding, but it's always good to get more EXP versus the same teams that you're likely to play 2 months from now, right? You never want to lose a match. You never want to just give up on that one. So we'll talk more about that series later on in the day, but I think we are going to take a look at the lineups for our first series, RRQ Kaguya versus Deviant Topaz. And I mean, RRQ Kaguya, we've been watching them for 3 years. What is there left to say about this team that hasn't already been said?
I mean, we know most of their players. We've seen them pop off at individual moments, but this year at least, the question that everybody was asking was, how good are they without Inari? Because if you look at the last 2 years of their gameplay, sure, the team as a whole did pop off, but Inari was that X factor. She was that player that really set them up for success. And this year, even without her, they've been able to do well, yes, but they haven't walked away with a title win as of now. And while they made it to that top 3 placement, they just haven't been able to make it further. In fact, in Open 2, I think they fell short of even that much. So this year, it's been looking a little bit rough for them. Sure, they've already qualified for Elite, but at this point, like you mentioned, every single bit of experience that they can try to get as they move forward, it's going to be very important, especially with there still being some questions of how exactly that team is assimilating in kind of, it's not really too much of a role swap, but still, compared to how it used to be at least, things are changing around.
Yep, for sure. And talking about the performance, right, I think that the big arc for them coming into Open 3 is, will they be able to find that redemption? Will they be able to kind of play up to the potential that I think everyone who's been a fan, who's been a watcher of this team is expecting from them? We were talking about their finish in Open number 1. They did end 3rd place, very respectable finish from them, but Open 2, 5th to 6th, like tied in that spot, which for them, I mean, I think they were very vocal about it as well, was a disappointment. And there you see on your screens the lineup of RRQ Kaguya. It's going to be Aluka, Ayumi, Iceberg, Nabsky, as well as Bess. And yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle, I think, for this team from Open 2 up until today. We've seen them face off against their age-old rivals, Full Send Sapphire. I took a look at the stats before today, and after you factor into account Open 3's matchups so far, they've played Full Send Sapphire a total of 5 times in competitive this year. They've been 2-0'd every single time that they meet Full Send. Open 2, they met them on day number 1, got instantly dropped to the lower bracket. Open number 3, they met them yesterday and then dropped down again to the lower bracket. So it's been a bit of a rough time for RRQ, and I think for them, like, they just really need to play up to their potential.
Yeah, they've had the reputation so far at least, but now they're gonna be facing the new kids on the block here. Now, Deviant Topaz, this is a team that has made it to playoffs for the first time this year, but despite that, they've been putting up a really good showing. In particular, I think the player that has really stood out for me in this particular lineup is Toffee Waffy on the Killjoy. From day 1, she's been really incredible at setting herself up for success on these multi-frags, and of course, she's just really, really good at anchoring. Like, the first sign of an excellent Sentinel is, of course, that anchor potential, and Toffee has that in spades. Tab as well has been impressing me on that duelist. When you're going up against teams like SMG, it's really, really hard to find those entries, but Tab, despite that game ending in a loss, was able to do her job quite well and set up the rest of the team for success. So I'm hoping that Deviant Topaz makes a little bit of a deeper run. Like you mentioned, a lot at stake for this particular roster, because if they do win this particular Open, they will get that ticket to Elite. So they want to make that deep run all the way. And yes, I know it's a huge dream for them. A lot of factors, a lot of opposition in their way, but I think maybe it could work out.
I know.
Just a little bit. Never say no.
Yeah, I mean, we got a dream, right? That's kind of the point of this competition as well. Over here at Game Changers, we want to empower these women in gaming. We want to tell everyone, out there that if you've got gaming dreams, go ahead and pursue them. Every dream matters, just we want to be able to play to the best of your ability and just give everyone a safe space where they can grow and they can become the best version of themselves here in the Valorant scene. And Deviant Topaz, right? You were talking about Toffee Waffy. It's just blows my mind how she joined this team 2 weeks ago, instantly became co-IGL as well, and just so many stats from this team also, right? That Yu-Chen, she's only 16. She was subbing in for Open 3 for Balding Kneecaps because Balding Kneecaps unfortunately has been feeling a bit sick the last couple of days. Instantly got MVP against GE Phoenix yesterday, and I don't know, just everything about this team is just coming up roses. But we do have the map select over on your screens right now. It is going to be map number 1, Lotus, to start things off, map 2, Pearl, and if it does go to that all-important deciding map number 3, it will be on Fracture. Zach, how do we feel about this map pick?
I'm very interested to see Topaz picking up that Lotus because it's a map that they have a lot of experience playing. They didn't do too well against SMG in that first matchup, but apart from that, they've had a pretty successful win rate over the course of that Swiss stage this year. So that's definitely a map that they feel very comfortable on. The same could also be said for RRQ, however. They've also played this map a decent amount. Sure, every time they face Pulse and Sapphire, it doesn't go too well for them. But aside from that, they've been looking very good on that map as well. So it should be pretty interesting. Both teams kind of comfortable on that map. So map number 2, Pearl, of course, kind of RRQ's home ground, map that they've traditionally been able to excel at. So it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle for the side of Topaz. And Fracture, of course, I think that's a map that at this point, it's like the New Haven. Almost every team, they're pretty comfortable playing it. It comes up often in that decider slot, if you've noticed these days.
Yeah, and I think for RRQ Kaguya as well, Fracture is also one of their most comfortable maps on. Actually, I think that they have like 100% win rate on Fracture when you don't count the team that is Full Sense Sapphire. They've got that 100% win rate as long
except
as
Full Sense.
Exactly. Except for Full Sense, they're good. They're great. They're more than great on this map. So yeah, it will be interesting to see. I think that what we've been noticing from the last few days of the playoffs is that most of these teams are opting to go for agent compositions that are more normal, that are very comfortable for them. Do we think we're going to keep seeing that for today, or do you think that maybe this team's got something different cooked up? How do we feel?
I always hope for something different, like a Yoru or Emmy's Phoenix. I know that Phoenix is sometimes played on Pearl, but yesterday in particular, I was having fun watching Emmy play Phoenix. It looked, well, I don't think our opponents were having fun, but that's a separate topic. But it was very fun to watch. It's always nice to see the Harbor Viper on Pearl, the Jet coming out as your star duelist most of the time, but a little bit of variation, it at least adds a bit of spice to the game. But talking about these maps in particular, I don't think we're gonna see too much of a change-up coming up from either of these teams because, like we talked about, these are maps that these teams have history on. They're very comfortable in their current agent constant, and I don't think we're gonna be seeing much of a change. At least for Lotus, from the side of RRQ, we might see a bit of a swap over in that Sentinel kind of role because we did see the double duelist comp coming up from them historically. So the last time they played it, they were running that Killjoy instead of that Cypher. So that kind of swap around might be happening. But again, this is a team that tends to be very flexible around this map. I don't think we're going to be seeing too much of a change on Lotus coming out of Deviant. However, they've played this map with the same comp the last 6 times, and they won 5 out of 6 times. So it's a map that's pretty much a comfort pick for them.
Yep, I mean, don't break what ain't broken, right? Don't try and fix that. And
exactly.
Seems that what they've got has been definitely working out for them. I would love to see RRQ just run it back, bring back the neon on Fracture, but I don't know, man. We're getting ahead of ourselves. That would be map 3, and that would be like, I don't know, that would be like for Christmas. That would be my Christmas present this year if I see that neon come. Yeah, exactly. But I think we got some stats as well because, the thing about Deviant Topaz is that some of their members, live near me, Well, they live in the same country as
Singapore
me.
privilege.
Yeah.
Ooh,
because we're a small country, you could live on the opposite side of Singapore. It's still like within an hour's drive, So we managed to get a couple of comments and talk a bit to some of the members of the team. So they did give us some of their stats. I believe Toffee Waffy wanted to tell us that she has 690 hours played on Killjoy, and she's got 5 560 hours played on Sova. So, you know, I saw these stats and I was like, girl, because she joined this team 2 weeks ago and we were like, what were you doing before then? Oh, that's what you were doing. You were hard grinding that KJ, that's Sova. So yeah, we kind of, you know, see why this works with their composition and how they've gotten that 5 out of 6 wins so far.
I'm truly a Toffee Wuffy fan after this particular tournament.
Her name alone.
I would kill for an autograph. Just her name alone. Just the way she plays Killjoy. Because I personally am very biased towards the Killjoy pick. I love Killjoy as an agent. I just find her to be the best Sentinel. Like, I don't care. Thank God Chamber got nerfed. I was kind of sick of seeing his face every day. But now my girl back in the meta, she's popping off. Like, okay, even when Chamber was kind of a must pick, she was there on a sense. But now it's just Killjoy supremacy. Even with her, especially with those buffs coming in at the beginning of the year, no more pesky breach aftershock to break my beautiful ult. It's Killjoy's been getting some love, so it's always nice to see a really good Killjoy player take pride in themselves. So go Toffee Wuffy, I'm cheering for you. But of course, for RRQ's side, right? Again, this is a team which we talked about their consistency in the past. We talked about how impressive they were. This is the roster that most of us thought for 2 years that would end up representing APAC at Game Changers, and well, it didn't play out that way. They still have the wealth of experience that comes with them. So of course, if you're talking about their individual players, Ayumi and Aluka in particular, really impact fraggers that are available for the team. The problem is that, at least for the course of this Open 3, we haven't been seeing the usual kind of utility usage that we see coming out of their flex players, and this Asian comp virtue. We got my girl Toffee Wuffy on Killjoy, let's go!
Yeah, I heard you giving Killjoy all that love and I was like, girl, you must love Baby TZ. She's like at 4 out of 4 for MVPs on that Killjoy.
She's my queen.
For day 1 and 2. I mean, honestly, like, she's everyone's queen, right? She's our mother at this point. Like, what else can we say about her? But the Asian composition for this time around is going to be kind of what we predicted, right? It's going to be pretty standard across the board. RRQ Kaguya just going for Ayumi on that jet, of course, versus I think it is the Breach, yep, for Puda, but otherwise the remaining 4 agents on both sides are going to be the same. How do we think this is going to affect the map at all, especially considering RRQ, you know, they're starting on defense, Deviant Topaz starting on the attack?
I think that for RRQ, because of how we've seen them play this map before, as well as their agent comp, we're gonna see a lot of aggression coming out early. Ayumi and Aluka, they don't like to sit still. They're like, are we on a defense? Are we on attack? It doesn't matter. We're just gonna push anyway. And so often it catches their opponents by surprise. So definitely RRQ. That aggressive playstyle is going to be something that Deviant Topaz have to be careful about. The thing is, that Deviant Topaz also has the tools to kind of deal with it. With that double initiator coming in, it can really set Tub up for those entries. But more than that, it's just a lot of denial and deterrent push potential available for them on this attacking side once that spike goes down. Because sure, let's say the spike goes out on C, right? You have 2 areas that you can try to retake from. You're gonna have Sky Flashes, Breach Stuns, Breach Flashes, Pain Shells, Paranoias. There's just so much utility in the pockets of Deviant Topaz compared to Kaguya. And I think that particular thing might be their saving grace against the aggression coming out of Ayumi and Aluka.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Because the Omen as well, like Yu-chan has shown that she's so good at being able to use that utility, and that she has just that absolute like game sense. You can just plug and play her into this roster. I think the roster also, they've, as you said, they've only been playing together as a 5-6 person court for about 2 to 3 weeks, but the entire team have been playing for only like just over a month as well. Unit and Tub, however, I think they have great synergy. They've been together for I think 6 months or so, which is why you kind of see that it's always like one duelist and then one sort of like Inni or util sort of pairing. This time around is going to be that Raze as well as the Sky, and I just love how Deviant Topaz have been playing as a 5-man. Like, you would watch this team play and just never in a million years imagine that they just came together, and like they just came together at Open 2. So they ended 9th to 23rd place, didn't make playoffs then, but have made playoffs now. And in today's elimination game, I gotta say it's gonna be anyone's game, but of course here to bring you guys all that sweet action for that map number 1. Guys, we've got B&D. Gentlemen, over to you.
Look, there's a new duo on the desk and now she gives us a new name? Okay, Jenny, I see you. But Black and Blue, look, the elite field has been all but set, and only one deviation can happen by this point, and you are looking at it. Deviant Topaz facing off the old queens, as the panels mentioned, RRQ Kaguya, and such a big test, especially for Deviant Topaz. If they want to make it through Elite, they need to prove it through the lower brackets.
Yeah, what's funny about this matchup is that they're both in very similar situations in terms of where they are, right? Lower bracket, and nobody expected these two teams to be in this position, but for very different reasons. You look at Deviant Topaz, and I think it's safe to say they absolutely impressed on their 2-0 win versus Global yesterday, and I hit my mic while doing that. And you look at how, as well, they were able to really take a hit here, but also be able to recover when they were down versus, you know, in the lower brackets yesterday. They're still able to come back, but then you look at RRQ Kaguya, and they're the type of team that we also did not expect to be here, but because we expected more from them. We expected that they would be fighting still in the upper bracket at this stage, but we're going to see if they can finally rectify those mistakes and gain what is really true and promised from a squad as historical as these guys. Girls.
And hasn't that been the story, really? The history of RRQ Kaguya. Every single open, we have lofty expectations for this roster, but they barely grasp at what they used to have along the way. It's
right.
a
Cameras
difficult
off,
year. Yeah, honestly. It's like, camera off,
full
all
focus.
performance here. And RRQ Kaguya, you know their story already. You know how great they can be, but they haven't reached the heights that they had when they were especially that Alter Ego Celeste score. And you know, of course, Neri's not here anymore. It's still Yumi and Alaka ready to lead that charge. They're on the double duelist right now, but the potential is there, and they need to prove it yet again through the lower bracket. Deviant Topaz, on the other hand, as we're on the technical pause, remember, Yu Chan came in to this roster just yesterday after taking a bit of a break from that matchup against Team SMG, and she absolutely performed. There needs to be those step-up moments from Deviant Topaz yet again if they want to find that win versus RRQ.
Yeah, it came in very exhilarating ways, but one point we typically bring up in those cases is that, is it really the most sustainable, especially against an arguably much better, you know, opponent here in RRQ Kaguya? And that's no shade to the previous matchups versus Global. It just simply is the case that, you know, if the team isn't as ready to punish those type of individual plays, then it simply is a lot more effective in being pulled off. But luckily for Yuna here, she's actually got her name, like, proper. Yesterday she had some other moniker going on, but this gives us a bit of time to talk about here, really. I think expectations of what both teams are. I touched upon it a while ago, you know, in the lead up to this matchup, where nobody would have expected Deviant Topaz to get here. But there now is information. People have seen how they play. RRQ knows what their weaknesses might be, and that's potentially why, you know, for our veto here, they picked Pearl, because it looked like a map that, at least previously in some of the matches they played, especially against SMG, they might have seen something they can maybe, you know, abuse there, or maybe try and exploit. And then you see the match versus Global where they were able to win that, but there has to be a reason why RRQ let that on in. It's also one of their better maps, so that makes sense for them, one of their strongest, and they were one of the best teams on Pearl in the first place. But it's Lotus we start on, and this is a really good map, I think, for Deviant Topaz to start on, considering this has been one of the more larger liabilities we've seen from RRQ recently.
Yeah, especially against full Sense Sapphire, right? And that's what I've noticed for Deviant Topaz. Their map pool itself hasn't been as set compared to some of the other teams, some of the usual faces we get here in the playoffs, but they look to go for the map pick that they know have shown struggles from the opposition. Same case against Global Esports. They pick Pearl, and you can see the discomfort for GE for a long time, especially during the first half. Right now, they're banking on that previous history from RRQ. And speaking of previous history, you see the swap on out. Something you would like, Black and Blue. They go back to that Cypher. Navsky perhaps can have a lot more staying power with that agent instead.
Cypher? Me? A fan? No, who would ever thought?
No, you,
who would have thought?
Black and Blue loving Cypher?
The Instalock?
What a surprise.
And ranked?
You can't even do it anymore. They got rid of that app, right? Or something.
Well, I mean, sounds like a skill issue if you can't click it fast enough. I've got my mouse hovered on the Cypher
2 words.
spot.
Install SSD. There you go.
That is the truth of it. Load in faster. Get your priority pick. I mean, for the meantime, well, we got all this time to talk about.
All the time in the world.
Tech pauses. You know what's funny is that I don't think we even had one during like the first day at all.
Yeah, we didn't.
And it's usually the first day that we have these type of problems, but I guess it was a blessing. Oh, clock is moving. Maybe good sign.
You know, it was also interesting yesterday. There was a point I noticed.
Yeah.
So Sapphire won. on the second stream that we were on, and then Topaz won on the second stream also. Jewelry is the answer, Black and Blue.
Oh,
diamonds,
I see what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
Diamonds in the
see?
rough, for sure, this
Yeah.
Deviant Topaz squad is. Well, full sense, you can't really say that as all eyes on them and all eyes on this opening match of day number 3.
Yeah, well, it's time to see what will be shining, shimmering, and splendid as we move now into the first round. Tech Boss is gone. We get into the action. And RRQ Kaguya, they have learned a few lessons versus Full Sense Sapphire. They might be willing to play towards that rubble more so compared to before. And Top Floppy, eyes on her, and there you go! She doesn't disappoint. Ayumi goes down, and first blood drawn here by Deviant Topaz.
Big pick off here from Toffee Waffy, and she was, aside from a player like Yu-Chan or maybe Tub, such an exemplary player. We saw how many clutches from a player like her. Huge moments where they'd be clutch plays, not necessarily 1vx, but just big moments in general.
Lurks too, and here comes Aluka. Too many targets to deal with. Eventually, she will fall. 4v3 though, as we get Deviant Topaz now moving towards the site, and Namsky trying to play towards Waterfall. Deviant Topaz looking for the clear, and here they come. They're willing to push the issue anyway. The paranoia is there. The swing comes on in, but Namsky still gets one for her troubles. Advantage still here for Topaz. Tub now versus Iceberg. Iceberg wins that down. Paranoia prime, and there's a flag possible too. Pinch now here for RRQ. Best on the board. Yuna fights back. 1v1 now. Best versus Yuna. The Battle of the Skies. Who can breach that limit first? It's time for the tap. She can actually go for a half defuse here safely. Maybe even go for the full if ever. She can stick. She does so. And this round goes to RRQ.
Wow, Bess getting the better of Yuna here. The best of what they've got. Just was an absolute brawl it became on the site. Everybody just going for haymakers, swinging wide and landing true. RRQ, way to open up with a pistol here. And Aluka, it's funny that she just fronts this defense with a classic and still gets the one. A lot of times you try and see them play a bit more, I guess, conservatively, but not RRQ here. They mean business to start off this opening map.
And not only that, it seems like they've studied their opponent. They know that Deviant Topaz is a squad that likes to push. If they can get a strong flank going, especially on a 3-site map like Lotus, then they're gonna be very active on these rotations. They're gonna have more opportunities to get value on the off angle. And Alaka, she was sharp before. Can she be so yet again alongside Best now, holding down the C side. Deviant Topaz swinging, trying to do it in triplicate. Yu-Chan actually with the takedown. And we mentioned it yesterday. Eco Warriors Deviant Topaz always a threat despite the gun disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that within like what, 15 rounds they're able to win 3 ecos. Big moments there for Deviant Topaz, and it's looking to be one more if they can get this pick off here. An iceberg, which he does. A double, a triple for Yu-Chan.
So early on, and she's ready yet again. Deviant Topaz, marksman at their finest, and it's all left to Ayumi. RRQ Kaguya didn't expect this kind of caliber of firepower coming in from Deviant Topaz, as Yuna now scouts out with the Trailblazer, doesn't spot the waterfall position as of yet. These martial shots need to ring through. No armor on Deviant Topaz though, so Ayumi does still stand a chance. Creeping on forward, gets that takedown, dash on in. But Yu-Chan will just be unrelenting on the chase. 4 for Yu-Chan and a win here for Deviant Topaz.
We talked about Deviant Topaz being one of those better eco teams, and look at how they deliver. Yu-Chan especially, she has been such an exemplary player in that matchup versus Global yesterday, and we were wondering, can they do it against a much more experienced team here in RRQ Kaguya, one of the most storied ones, and they're looking to deliver, Dax. Let's not forget, yesterday on, especially for, the entire series, Yu-Chan top fragged the entire both sides. And she's an Omen and Astra as well sometimes. A controller to do all that, that's impressive.
A reliable midline and one of the stronger anchors we saw. I still won't forget about that moment on Pearl where she got the 2K so quickly and went for a 4K overall. Those moments from Deviant Topaz, they're proving that they are a worthy contender to the Open 3 crown. And in all honesty, they have everything to gain here in the lower bracket. Even if they lose and get eliminated, they're going to be one of the biggest threats coming into LCQ. But if they can do the improbable, if they can make that run and get this championship, then they book their own ticket to Elite.
I mean, it's safe to say that with their performances lately, Deviant Topaz has certainly gained themselves new fans and new supporters. Just, you love to see that underdog story of a team completely unknown relatively, and still just perform and get these great results. They're moving forward in a bracket that nobody thought they would, and here they are right now with a really possible advantage of taking the lead here.
Yeah, they're facing the known though. They're facing off against such a storied roster like RRQ, but they also know that the gun advantage is in their favor, and Tub already with the entry. Navsky falls, a blast back to hop on the box, and Tub will just make all of them tumble down. 3 for Tub, Alaka into the corner too, and Deviant Topaz looking clean so far. Alaka though, stellar shot, Aftershock Tub putting her in trouble, but she still has a blast back to get the hell out of there. It's 3v2 now, Paranoia into play, and there's the peek from Puda, but Alaka is also as sharp here. Heal now to try and fight on back. Alaka giving RRQ Kaguya a chance in this round. Toffee Waffy and Yu-Chan, stellar fraggers in their own right, getting ready for the push. Best might be leading this charge. Trying to go for the tap, bait out. Alaka now picking up a rifle. 4 for Alaka. Can she get the ace? The paint shells are there, but Toffee Waffy is truly ready. Deviant Topaz still win it.
Yeah, I mean, RRQ, they put up a great fight there, especially Alaka finding those 4, getting herself going, and now they got the showstopper because of that to, you know, really try and tie this game on up. And for an Eco Dax, it came super close. It was almost going to be another Eco round win, but this time in retaliation, in return. Great effort from Alaka. Obviously, the round still goes to Deviant Topaz, but that's a decent cut in their economy.
And not only that, showstoppers ready, rifles are there too. Perhaps the only concern, light armor into play, but we've seen from RRQ Kaguya, they are enjoyers of the Fnatic brand. You can see that they see Vandals on the other side, might as well play the lights instead and save a bit of money. Paint shells, a one-way setup, and a contest immediately towards Mound. RRQ Kaguya, they want to fight Deviant Topaz as soon as possible. Swing comes on in. There's confidence here from Ayumi and Alaka, and because of it, they get 2.
She's
stellar
feeling
speed from Ayumi, and it seems like RRQ Kaguya ramping up the action now.
You can tell that every bit of confidence is flowing right now for Ayumi. When she gets those peaks going, gets a double out of it as well. An Iceberg aware here of the possibility of Deviant Topaz coming their way. So Deviant Topaz, we've seen them come back from rounds like these where they might not have the advantage, but somehow turn it around, and it's like a re-hit of the C site is what they're going to be attempting. It's only best to make that contact.
Yeah, Best might get the find, but RRQ Kaguya overall doing a great job to prevent the Talkie-Walkie alert from happening. Bit of intel, but Best jumps a little too far off, and Yuna still gets the takedown anyway. Reinforcements needed now towards the C site, and Ayumi will be there to call that action. The flash gets a connection. Now they know someone's here. Ayumi might get spotted inside the smoke. Toffee with a push. But here comes the showstopper! Somehow Toffee survives, but the 2 behind her fall instead. Here comes the rest of RRQ. Toffee makes it difficult, but Nabsky will nab that win still.
In an alternate universe, with that showstopper not getting to, I think that would have been Deviant's round. They were feeling it that round. They got the pick off on the Best, who was jump peeking, by the way, in a 3v5, almost turned it around, and Toffee Waffy still gets a kill here, anyways, on Alaka and the Yumi, and then gets Iceberg. Dude, these gals are super impressive, just the way that they're able to deal with this situation. Showstopper turned things around, but it came super close, and it definitely could have come the other way.
Deviant Topaz has no fear, and if you're able to stare at the showstopper coming at you and still be that sharp, then you already know they don't blink, they're just ready. Deviant Topaz ready to fight yet again. RRQ Kaguya, they have the blades though, and they at least got, again, another angle to work with. Another push from the last round. Ayumi here, blades at hand, expecting the push, and the Rolling Thunder is there. Disengaged now with a Cloudburst. Showstopper looking for the chase, but Tub can't find anyone so far. RRQ wisely backing on away and ceding control of the site.
That buys the space they need, but Ayumi here in the bout, she doesn't connect, and those are all the blades expanded. Nabsky able to get a double from that waterfall, letting it rain, letting it pour. A triple in Nabsky's name. It's all on the Toffee Waffy to try and get something done from the behind, from the back line. Only good for 1. It's all on Yu-Chan.
Yeah, Yu-Chan all alone, and it seems like that's unexpected here, even more so that Ayumi re-peaks the whole position and takes the rifle along the way. RRQ Kaguya, they throw a wrench in the plans of Deviant Topaz. Deviant Topaz did not expect RRQ to fight them in the lockdown.
Yeah, that's really great kind of off-pacing here from RRQ Kaguya, who, as of, the most part, they've been kind of respecting the space that Deviant Topaz buy, and then they suddenly hit them when they least expect it. So really nicely done, as you said, that lockdown giving Deviant Topaz kind of a false sense of security in the first time out of this series, forced out for RRQ to be building upon, you know, an early lead here, especially on the defensive first half. It's a great sign for them being activated the way that we know they can be.
Yeah, and Deviant Topaz, this timeout makes so much sense. Like, Global Esports Phoenix, they're a consistent team making it to the playoffs, yes. But on the other hand, RRQ Kaguya is a champion team, right? They had this history as Alter Ego Celeste. They won out these opens way before the time of Deviant Topaz. And now, Deviant Topaz is understanding that they need to be ready at any given moment against a team that has been here, done that, and gone the distance before.
I mean, RRQ, the former Alter Ego squad, we know what they've achieved, but we also know how they faltered in the past, where they were looking so spectacular all the way through Elite, and then at the final moment, Kryptonite is what finds them, and they're looking to try and rectify those mistakes. Even bigger challenges this time around, lots more threats than there otherwise might have even been in the previous years, and then obviously roster changes. It makes you really want to root for this team, RRQ, to be able to prove that they can still do it, that they still got what it takes. But then the opposition is also a team that you look at and you're like, the underdog story is something you can't deny is a great one to tell.
Yeah, they've been shown Mortal, and Kaguya, you can feel it's relatable here. It's an uphill climb now to get back to the peak. But Deviant Topaz also on the same journey, and pretty much their first time early here. So a quick little tech pause yet again. 3-2 standing, and if you guys are just tuning on in, it's already looking to be quite a banger. Just these two teams have made these rounds neck and neck. If Deviant Topaz has a disadvantage, they still fight back. Same case for RRQ. Moments there from Alka, moments there from Nabsky. You already know you're in for a treat if you're checking out this lower bracket.
Look at the two players we specifically mentioned, like within the first 2 rounds of the game, Yu-Chan and Toffee Waffy from Deviant Topaz, and how we saw them just be such an absolute game changer. Versus Global. Pardon the pun. Intended, of course. You may cringe if you want.
I already am. I thought you were gonna say there'll be challengers turned into masters, but okay, whatever.
Well,
Go
maybe
for
one
it.
day they'll be champions as well.
Oh no. I went with it just to make you happy.
Hey, you started
and you
it.
Still, you started it. You doubled down on it. And I'm just like, okay,
Yeah, but
I'm here
my
for the
joke
ride.
was derivative of yours, so who's to blame, Dax? Who's to blame?
I didn't mean it to be that way, man.
This is what happens when you have a tech pause.
Yeah, of course. But well, what do we see here? RRQ Kaguya right now, they have 3 ultimates ready. I would love to see what else Nabsky can do with this Cypher. She proved that she can be very stealthy, right, in that last round. And not only that, since they're running a Cypher versus a Killjoy that they know will lurk, these tripwires from across the map, it'll still work. It'll still give the right info to RRQ if ever.
You're very right. Just the amount of global influence, wrong team, but not pun intended.
I'm gonna laugh at it this time because I ignored it yesterday.
Okay, thank you. The amount of global
Okay.
influence a Cypher will give you, not just obviously the neural theft, and as you said, you know, the trips, but you can lurk anywhere on the map and still have your utility be active. You can just create so much presence by merely feigning that, like you throw a cage out here, pop it late into the round, and then now they think, oh, is somebody crossing to rubble, right? Those type of things are what can really kind of define the incredible individual skill that RRQ almost certainly have. But if they're expecting this skill diff, this team that might have less experience in them, they're going to be surprised, because we were surprised at just how much they do not deviate from what is normally structured play here, Deviant Topaz. They've been looking pretty sharp, not just obviously mechanically, but as a team, communication-wise and collectively.
Yeah, honestly, they look like an absolute unit. Just the time between Open 2 and Open 3 was enough for them to coalesce, to gel just like this. And now, Deviant Topaz on the eco as we're back into the game. Lobby here being contested. The teleport out by Yu-Chan, and the Deviant Topaz roster looking to reinforce with Alaka through the smoke. Even top falls. Default Deviant Topaz not working the way that they would like, as RRQ take command instead.
Yeah, it's a good opening pick here for RRQ. Able to shut them down. Almost could have gotten Yu-Chan, but she was also very prepared for that. She knew the possibility, anticipated that they could clear her out, so you can can tell that she had the buffered in her head. They come a TP out, but the Yumi simply shredding them down, and not the mere fight Deviant Topaz can even put up.
Yeah, Yumi at the ready, and here comes a Yumi yet again. A 4K for her, and this is why she has been the flag bearer of RRQ for quite a while. Stellar frontline here for RRQ, assisted well by the mid line. And of course, a recipe of success. This push towards lobby means that Deviant Topaz needs to be ready, right? Kaguya will not be resting on their laurels. When they can take that map control, they will do so.
She was blind too, and fortune for sure favored the bold there. She's very, very headstrong. You look at now ultimates as we're starting to build up that economy here midway through the opening half, starting to get to that act 2 of the first. And they got that neural theft we talked about, but more importantly, Seekers on either side. You get an opening pick, that Seekers becomes even more potent because you get more information. Aluka, timing.
She's dipping out, she's getting ready instead, and the lower angle, surprising Tub actually. The takedown's there, here comes Toffee Waffy with the trade, but Alaka, a parting gift, martyrdom, as Ayumi and Bess also bring out the mobs and clean up nicely. Puda's the only one left, 1v4, and suddenly Kaguya looking sharper than ever. Speed kills, Kaguya at the ready. There's intel too, Navsky knows exactly where she is. And hook, line, and sinker, it's spotted, it's found, and it's around.
You can see the amount of respect that RQ have here, though, right? Aluka, she gets the opening pick, but doesn't dip for more. Tries to fall back into a more defendable position, chucks her nade just so they don't push her, and then even in the 4v2, they pop the neural theft. Obviously, it's one of the faster ultimates to build up, but even with the advantage, they just do not want to let things go to the wayside. They do not want to take that risk of having another comeback performance from Deviant Topaz when they have lesser players. So RQ, the fact that they respect their opposition here is going to be one of their biggest, strongest points, because they should by all means be the favorites of the series.
No, I like that point, because if you let Deviant Topaz reset, they look sharper than ever. It's dangerous to let the likes of Yu-Chan and Toffee Waffy have a breath to recompose themselves and get ready along the way. A Yumi though prepared alongside Bess. There's the smoke to make it even more difficult for Deviant Topaz to cross. And Tub wary now. It's dangerous here for Deviant Topaz. They're on an eco state yet again. And while they have been incredible eco warriors, it's the other side of the coin. They're usually put more so in an eco state compared to the other teams we've seen so far. But Toffee Waffy doesn't disappoint again. There's the shot, and there goes Alaka.
Dude, Deviant Topaz have been one of the best teams at landing those sheriff shots all throughout. Toffee Waffy especially, but also Yu-Chan. We saw her come in big yesterday, especially on a map like Haven, where just so many moments, and you'd think the rifle would be superior, but a quick shot, a quick draw is all they need.
Bye. My ult's ready.
There you have it, a Yumi instead. At least fighting back. Toffee Waffy has finally been felled. 4v4 as Deviant Topaz decide to go for the cross, but the Yumi's prepared yet again. No one can cross the tall of a Yumi. It's a blood sacrifice needed here by Deviant Topaz. They have to back on away immediately towards Mound. And this time RRQ playing with the timer. 20 seconds left. It's going to be a difficult retake, or rotate rather, here for Deviant Topaz if ever. They're moving towards B out of desperation. It's their only chance right now to make their way towards the site. And Yuna leading the charge, but look who's ready. Navsky and the trip bar. I choose you, and there you go. The takeout's there. And the disadvantage is clear here for Deviant Topaz. They cross the line, and they will be found. The fight back from Yu-Chan, but it's not enough. RRQ make it 6.
Decent attempt, but even better here from RRQ. Tub was actually really close to getting that trade-off on Ayumi. Luckily, though, Ayumi, sharp as ever, landing the shots that they needed and keeps them going. It's Aluka, actually, who pulls out an operator here. And this is an RQ timeout, if anything.
Well, the one thing they need to be careful of is, of course, those eco frags coming out of nowhere. Luckily for them, or honestly, it's such a good rotation how they played from C to B. They played out the timer well. They slowed down Deviant Topaz as much as possible. It all started with Iceberg and her smokes. That already made it very difficult for Tub to actually play the entry towards C, and those kind of utility plays have been helping out RRQ Kaguya mitigate the roam potential of Deviant Topaz.
Potential. That's a key word here for Deviant Topaz, because they have, with even dire odds, turned those type of rounds around, and that's why we've been talking about how RQ fully respect the clutch potential that this squad has. Deviant Topaz, surprising as ever, they're the ones who have just been able to take a difficult situation and shoot themselves out of it.
Yeah, think about it though. This isn't even the full picture that we've seen from Deviant Topaz, and it's thanks to RRQ how they're limiting the options of DV as a whole. Where are the Toffee Waffy lurks? It's not happening because of the presence of Navsky. Can we get the Yu-Chan off angles? Not as much as Deviant Topaz would like. And just right now, making it even more difficult. The operator is out with a stellar flash to allow the opening here for Topaz. They're moving in now to get rubble control. A chance to pivot towards B if ever, but the door being open, the Seeker's gonna be there as well. And it does seem like it's from the side of Yuna. So Deviant Topaz to clear towards the side. Ayumi though spotted, has to back on away because he can't see anything. Trailblazer there too, just to sniff out anyone on site, but Navsky already finding one. Yu-Chan though punishing Best, who drops down. Yuna's there too, and Deviant Topaz get the advantage. Here comes Tub, and she's ready to play aggressive. Does RRQ expect this? I don't think so. Smoke dissipates, and Tub gets one. It's 3v2 now. The blades are all Ayumi can back on, and there you have it, reliable still. 2v2, trying to find the frag, but Yuna answers back. It's now 1v1, and Iceberg stands tall and proud. RRQ, they make the retake work.
Huge clutch here from Iceberg in the end. Phantom winning out, but more importantly, RQ with a disadvantage, making things happen. That pick that Ayumi was able to find, the first one with her blades, that was huge. A Tub, she did her job here, get the one and done, but it's really finding Yu-Chan that gave him the advantage in this case. Able to overrun the rest of the remaining post plant, and that's the type of round that if you're Deviant Topaz, you have to secure against a team like RRQ.
Yeah, swing potential, right? As soon as Ayumi got there towards the site, she was still a threat, and from that point on, Iceberg also having a relatively quiet game in terms of the takedowns, in terms of the kills, but she's been so essential at just blocking some incredible sight lines that Deviant Topaz would have loved to utilize for themselves. Another round though, and another awkward scenario here for Deviant Topaz. They have Rifleman, yes, but two of them are Bulldogs. Navsky getting ready, Tripwire already triggered, knows exactly where Deviant Topaz will come from.
Oh, if Iceberg was just a bit earlier in the rotation there, she could have got the spam on the tripwire. Yumi has information.
Oh, no.
She's completely aware of the pivot here towards that B-Link. She does get one off only.
So one more, and still one at the ready. Alaka's there too to make the kills happen. But Yu-Chan trades it effectively. Best though on the board. And Best, of course, she's ready to do it better. Into the smoke, and down goes Yuna. 8-2 now. RRQ commanding in this map.
Yeah, great stuff here from RRQ. The run so far going unchallenged. Deviant Topaz only able to start off the half strong, but we haven't really seen that transition into the latter stages of this opening half. And RRQ just to be so aware of what's happening, that is really what's setting them apart now from this Deviant Topaz squad who, you can tell there, they just weren't ready for that B main hold to come on in. They weren't anticipating the operator to be there. Albeit it is difficult to try and get information and just anticipate that, but still, it's the difference in information gathering and activity RRQ have got over them.
Yeah, the activity itself, right? The protocols that Deviant Topaz are so accustomed to on a map-per-map basis, we're not getting it right now because of what RRQ has been able to limit them at in the first place. Here we go again. Mound now being contested. Always aggression on one side, and the anchor position for Navsky on the other. Let's buy even here for Deviant Topaz from the lobby now. They want to push towards A. The tripwires are there, so despite the smoke, it can still be Navsky finding opportunity. Tub has to be very careful right now in the cross. She makes her way towards the site. Camera still online and available, but this will be Deviant Topaz putting that clutch down.
Smart here. Just throw those paint shells towards the stairs because she knows there's a tripwire. She gets tagged. She could get spammed, but the flank from Best is even bigger. They're all within the site. It's going to be difficult for Deviant Topaz to hold on here.
Yeah, Black Fortune has always been on the side of Kaguya. Tub, does she know where they're gonna be? It's Ayumi and Alaka surprising many. Here comes RRQ, and out of the shadows and into the light. Kaguya yet again, from any angle, they will work it, and this will be another win for them.
Quick and clean round, all things considered here for RRQ. And it's just unfortunate for Deviant Topaz that, you know, Tub wasn't able to check out where Alaka was towards that drop. Could have otherwise been a moment where they somehow secure advantage, take heaven control, and then grab an extra rifle as well with it. But who knows, Dax? If you're superstitious, this might just be all according to plan.
Yeah, Deviant Topaz needs to win this round, Black and Blue. 9-3 curse must happen, but honestly, 8 rounds already. the streak here from RRQ. They are absolutely feeling it. They're ready to push the limit yet again. And one more time, the setup is flipped. A, the aggression, C, the anchor.
Moving on forward here now.
I've got your
Deviant
trail.
Topaz, Rolling Thunder available, but the counter showstopper could be big from RRQ if they can get in rotation in time. Sight, it's theirs. RRQ not wanting to hold on. They're going to play the retake instead. They've got utility for it.
Yeah, and the trip bar now gets even more information preventing the push from happening. Toffee Waffy getting ready at the back though, and perfect now. That's exactly what Deviant Topaz needs. Remove those angles from this equation. Yu-Chan also finding Yumi, and finally we see the sharpness of Deviant Topaz bearing fruit yet again. Rolling Thunder, the answer to Navsky now gonna get stunned on up. Here comes the rest of Deviant Topaz. Yu-Chan with the find even, and this is just all Deviant Topaz right now. Such a convincing round so far. Getting ready to go back in position. Iceberg here, playing towards Waterfall. 5v3. Seems like it's dangerous. Iceberg can't even see what's coming her way. And it's all up to Alaka and Navsky now. Already stalled by the Nano Swarm. RRQ, can they even find the clutch in them to make this happen? The angles are ready here for Deviant Topaz, and they will come to collect the round. 9-3 is a possibility. Happens here.
Switching sides.
Well, that's a great way to start to mount a comeback. It's taking the final round of the first half. We've seen many teams come back from this type of scoreline. Not just 9-3, but in general, when they've been losing most of the first half, and then they win the last round of that first half before the halftime and continue the momentum on forward. But, I mean, for the meantime, shut up, Black and Blue, because Jenny and Zach have got something to say.
Thank you, gentlemen. 9-3, of course. We know that superstition, that old 9-3 curse. But how do we think? Do we think that they've shown enough, you know, to try and make a comeback in the second half of the game?
I mean, like BNB pointed out, it's always nice to have that last round under your belt for that bit of additional momentum. But, you know, while we've seen individual moments of prowess coming out of these players on DV's side, of course, that round from Yu-Chan, the anti-eco that you were talking about, and in general, just the awareness out of Toffee Waffy and those entries that she and Tub are able to find, it just doesn't seem to be enough when you measure it against the team play that's coming out of RRQ's side. Overall, as a team, they've just looked a little bit more consistent. Their positioning is better, their spacing is cleaner, and because of that, they're able to like set themselves up for more of these chain kills. And the rounds that RRQ have won, they have won very convincingly.
Yeah, and DV also, I mean, they had that classic round 2, that force, and then that little win to get them that round. Do we think that maybe if they do that again, if they pick up a couple of sneaky ecos here and there in the second half, that they might make it happen? How do we feel?
I mean, it's always a possibility. That round, they were able to take RRQ by surprise. They really weren't expecting Yu-Chan or Bulldog to just blaze through all of that opposition provided. But again, that was the elements of surprise, and DV were fully able to utilize it to their benefit. What we need more from DV is the kind of play that we saw in that last round, where they were not just proactive, but also really, really good at working off the back of that utility. Like, you saw how Yu-Chan was once again able to just push up, find the timing and those kills, and that's because of how the teammates' utility really sets them up. So far, I think timing-wise, it's just been a little bit of a better show coming out of RRQ Kaguya, but it's 9-3. Anything could happen, Jenny. It's 9-3. We know this.
Exactly. We tell us all the time. We've seen this happen before, right? I mean, but RRQ just so good at playing as 5. DV, we thought that was their strength yesterday, but we're gonna see if they can pull things back somehow in the second half of the game. B&D, back over to you guys.
Look, our colleagues probably pretty superstitious. The curse, a possible kind of outlook to look forward to. But Deviant Topaz, they'll have a lot of work to do, Black and Blue. They need to recover. They need to find the footing that brought them here in the first place, especially what they did against GE Phoenix, how they're able to just frag out, find those angles. We're looking at Yu-Chan, we're looking at Toffee Waffy. What else can Deviant Topaz bring to the table?
I mean, we've seen them come back from more dire situations in the past, but against a team like this, who knows how things will go. It's gonna be difficult, for sure, but one that I'm sure these gals will not shy away from. The challenge, a mere test of endurance and skill. I don't think that these gals falter or lack that, but it's about RRQ right now. It's theirs to lose this match. If they don't perform the way that we expect, then that's where you can see Deviant Topaz come back. But by all means, this should be where they start to close things out in the favorable half.
Yeah, spotlight is on RRQ right now, and all eyes also on Ayumi and Alaka. Ayumi having such a monster game so far. Alaka, I'd say the same case. She's usually the first one who's felled, but the rest of RRQ able to make those trades out of the value that Alaka gets along the way. Tubdo willing to contest early on. Deviant Topaz already getting that rubble control, and they have both of the flash utility agents ready to help out Top at the moment's notice. Paranoia lob to make that space happen for RRQ. They're pushing towards Rubble. Yuna the one trying to go for the hold. Alaka sprays her down and takes her down. Ayumi in the board. Here comes Napsky too. It's all RRQ now. They clear out this A side pretty well.
Into here, RRQ, making sure that the attempt to take away that Rubble on the defense is not going to be as successful as Deviant Topaz were hoping for.
Enemy remaining.
Able to isolate those fights as Alaka does isolate Yu Chan's head. And Toffee Waffy responds, but still a 1v3. You've seen her come in big. This has to be one of those moments.
Yeah, but RRQ's so ready for this. The pain shells to flush her out, and Toffee Waffy, that's way too many to peek out from. Iceberg on the board, and it's 10 now here for RRQ. A pistol win yet again. Only concern, they just have to be careful of the potential eco possibilities that Deviant Topaz can do here.
Great shots, though, connecting here. We talked about the eco, but does it always have to come to an eco state win? Does it always have to come to a thrifty round converted when you really want to start building upon a streak here? Just Deviant Topaz haven't been able to get the chance to do so just yet. Only barely few rounds they were able to secure. And they had a nice attempt there of holding that Rubble down, but it seemed almost half measured in the attempt where they didn't have enough presence, but they also just might have been too far away to actually help in the fight. You saw their Yu-Chan forward, the rest of the two back. They need to commit a bit more if that's the idea. The timing not working out for them for sure.
Yeah, well, half measures do meet half armor, because already a Phantom and a Vandal picked up here by RRQ. They're bringing out the firepower and gonna try to move as a unit to protect one another, especially from the likes of Deviant Topaz. Moving over to that A site, Navs getting ready for the trip bars also, but it's already Alaka on the entry, clearing out the site, and down goes Yuna. Gotta be careful of the drop position. Tub takes advantage, and it's 4v4 for now. These guns, though, not in the best positions to be picked up. RRQ keeping tabs of every casualty that they get along the way. Navsky on the board, and well, this is all RRQ now. Clean as a whistle from this point on. It's 11-3 the scoreline.
Nicely done there from Nabsky to shut out the push attempt coming from the stairs. Could have certainly thrown him for a loop if nobody kept that in check, but the fact that they kind of got tagged by the cage, they touched upon it. I'll let her know that you have to be aware of it and anticipate the push. So she did, expected it fully. Final timeout of the regulation side, the regulation portion of the game here from Deviant Topaz. This is their second timeout already, and it's one that they really need to utilize to convert. What can they change? Where can they differ? On the defensive side, it can be an even bigger question, because sometimes you might have a plan to, okay, let's do this setup towards A, but then the opposition here goes towards the opposite side of the map, and whatever plans you might have, they might not necessarily be wrong, but they also weren't the most opportune one for what happened.
Look, the plan just looks so much more sound here for RRQ, and I still go back to the point that they went back to this Cypher. Nabsky looks so comfortable playing the Cypher, that extra bit of smoke screens basically with the cyber cages, helping out RRQ Kaguya get the entries that they would like. And it really was kind of weird to me that they swapped over to that Killjoy composition versus Full Send Sapphire in the upper bracket, when it was the Cypher comp that they've been running throughout their history, throughout Open 2 especially. So them going back to this one, getting back into this comfort zone, is really helping out Kaguya make a big case for themselves on this first map.
Well, the only case to be made for Deviant Topaz here is one that they have to write themselves. Can they read the script, or does it follow on through and through? Alka, she's pushed up completely here towards this B-Link, and it's going to be a problem to flush her out with this judge.
And even more so, Iceberg already getting the first one onto Toffee Waffy. potentially a penultimate round here as Ayumi swings and Yuna is felled. Here comes Buddha, but Alaka with the judge still. Close encounters of the judge kind. You gotta be careful, especially towards that B side. Tub now fighting Iceberg. The pain shells make it difficult for her to make that swing work. Napski's at the ready, and RRQ is more so prepared. Match point now on the opposition's map pick.
Isn't that the thing, Dex? They're
Match
prepared.
point.
They're prepared for whatever Deviant Topaz throws at them. And Napski being at the ready, how many times have we seen that from her? This series, this matchup alone, this map number 1 alone, and the few rounds we've seen played. She's always anticipating where they're going to come, the most, proper opportune angle to get the punish, to get the shutdown. And look at this. Whatever bark these gals might have, their bite has to be even more ferocious, because Bulldogs is all they bring to the table, and maybe a single judge.
Yeah, maybe a chance here for Deviant Topaz, but you can see everything has fallen apart for the defense. RRQ Kaguya just one round, one step away from taking this first map win. It's up. She needs to come up big if she needs to find those angles against RRQ. Cross happens already. It's a B-side take here for Kaguya. Ayumi looking to span down upper alongside the rest of her team. A one-way setup too, keeping Puda at bay. He stays along the corner now as his plant comes down. Puda getting ready with the flashes too to help out Yu-chan in the pinch. And we hear the showstopper Tub looking to let it rip. Kaguya already evacuating towards the corner. There you go with the rocket, but it doesn't get the takedown. It's Best instead with the kill. Here comes the flash. Best in trouble, but she's still fighting one back. Toppy Woppy on the board, and Best does it better again. Iceberg's there too, and RRQ Kaguya, this is their standard, and this is what they expect from them. 30-3, the dominance is at the ready.
What a round here from RRQ Kaguya, especially Best there. The transfer from that B link and the counter flash as well, knowing that she was blind to keep them in check, and the showstopper just not connecting as well, coming on in for Topaz. It was the one crucial moment. If they were able to get that pick and flush out the B link, then they would only have to focus on B main, but because they weren't able to really clear it out effectively in time or at all, it just left them so much more problems to deal with, and RRQ are great at giving them multiple issues to have to think about.
I mean, this is the RRQ Kaguya that we expected, right? When they limit the opposition from any options that they can do against other opponents, when they can just outclass and outfrag that front line. And as soon as they felt the pressure in those early rounds, they realized, okay guys, we can't actually give them a break. But it's break time for us. We'll throw it over to the panel to break down that first map.
Thanks, gentlemen. If y'all thought the first half was smooth sailing for RRQ, well, things don't get much smoother than that perfect second half, not even letting Deviant Topaz pick up one round at all. And I gotta say, just a lot of the strengths that we saw in DV's matchup versus GE Phoenix yesterday, right? A lot of the advantages like eco round wins, utility usage, playing as a unit, all of that just doesn't quite seem to match up versus RRQ pound for pound, and 5v5 RRQ just seem like the better team.
I mean, it makes sense in a lot of ways because this is a roster that has stuck together for the better part of 2 years, if not longer. They have that experience playing together, and even with Aluka, she's been around since last year, so it's not like the team is starting from scratch or anything. So I think because of that being a factor, there is going to be a little bit more synergy coming out of that RRQ side. And the points that you brought up, right, DV, they were able to put together things in those eco rounds, but overall they just didn't have the kind of consistency you'd expect to see from a team like RRQ. MVP for GV side is going to be Toppy Waffy. Of course, we saw her hit some pretty cracked shots, both her and Yu-chan able to put up those numbers, but they just don't have the same kind of consistent chain killing potential that RRQ squad carries. Like, we talked about it before we headed into the game, right, about attack and defense. And RRQ, on defense they were attacking, on attack they were attacking. It was just attack central.
Oh yeah, kind of a callback, right, to the aggressive even on defense Celeste playstyle from like 2 to 3 years ago that we've come to know and love from this squad. It's kind of unfortunate that Deviant Topaz are going up against RRQ. It feels like the RRQ playstyle seems to be like the kryptonite to Deviant Topaz, just with how aggressive RRQ are at pushing out on defense. DV just can't seem to match up with their pace, and I like how, you know, we saw the official Deviant Esports account commenting in Twitch chat, also saying get waffied. I think that's going to be, you know, their hope for map 2 if they want to
like
bring this
that
into that
tagline.
series, right?
Yo, B&B and Dax, you should use that one. Get toffee waffied or just waffied, whatever.
Get
Toffee waffied is something
toffied, get
insane.
waffied.
It depends on which side she does it from, but anyway, MVP for this game, it's gonna be Aluka, of course, expected on that raise. We saw kind of show-stopping potential that she literally had. 2.0 KDA, very, very nice coming out of her, but throwing your attention back to the previous graphic we saw, right? One more thing I'd like to highlight for both of these teams is that post plants. Now, RRQ, they only played 4 attacking rounds. They won 4, all 4 of them, and the post plant was 4 out of 4. So that was really good for them. But for the side of DV, they got the plant 7 times out of the 12 rounds that they played, and they only won 3 of those rounds. So it's just this kind of setup that they have in the post plant. It's been very unfortunate. A lot of these rounds, RRQ, they found that early advantage and they were able to stick with it. But even with the numbers, they were on even footing. RRQ was just really, really good at using their utility to make those retakes really work out. And the spacing that we talked about coming out of Deviant's side, it could have been a little bit better in that post plant in particular. So kudos to them, of course. They did a pretty good job today, but all things considered, they have to pull out a lot more if they want to take that map 2 away from RRQ on their own home ground.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Aluka and Ayumi just coming out of the gates is so hot, and we love to see that, right? Because sometimes when you watch the RRQ squad play, you're like, oh, the first map, sometimes it takes a bit longer for them to get their hands going, to like get that little warm-up game out of the way. But today, I mean, they don't need no warm-up. They probably weren't up in the range for like 2 to 3 hours before this, because they came out of the gates so strong. But yeah, we're gonna go for a really short break, guys, before we find out if Deviant and Topaz will be able to take this elimination game to that all-important map 3. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a bit.
was shot to death last night. Now you're lying in my bed. Must have been a dream last night, but I can hear what you're saying. You were shot to death last night. Where's my cup of coffee? I was dreaming something bad last night. Can't you hear what I'm saying? One gunshot, and I forgot to look at you, to look at you, to look at you, to look at you. Two gunshots, and my thoughts. We're not with you, we're not with you, we're not with you, we're not with you. You were shot to death last night, and I thought of someone else. Didn't care about your life last night, at least less than about his. All our dreams were shot to death last night. I see the clock stand still. Nightmares at your heart sometimes, but this is unbelievable. One gunshot, and I forgot to look at you, to look at you, to look at you, to look at you. Two gunshots, and my thoughts. We're not with you, we're not with you, we're not with you, we're not with you.
Welcome back to map 2 of series 1 of the day between RRQ and Deviant Topaz. RRQ finally showing us what we've all been hoping they were capable of. Zach, I think the big question coming into map 2 is going to be, are we feeling a 2-0 or a 2-1?
Personally, statistically, everything seems to point to a 2-0 here. This is Pearl, of course, a map that RRQ is very comfortable on, and just as a benchmark, right? Both of these teams, they played against GE Phoenix on this particular map during the Swiss stage. I think that RRQ played them and they found a 13-1 victory. I think that over the course of, I think it was yesterday, yes, when Deviant played GE Phoenix, they found a 13-7 victory. So this is a map that both of these teams are comfortable on. However, RRQ, they have way more playtime on this particular one. They're really, really good at it, and I think that this being their map pick, they just have a little bit of an advantage, especially coming in off of that fresh and spicy victory on Lotus 13-3. The momentum, it's definitely pushing them forward.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really tall order for Deviant Topaz. They want to try to bring this one back, and we were saying, you know, this is, they haven't really been playing together for all that long, and I think that the amount of time that you've spent like together as a team, that cohesion, that trust that you build, I think when it comes down to crunch time, right, because you've just lost 13-3 to RRQ on day 3 of the Game Changers playoffs. You've only got like 3 minutes to turn your mentality around before you've got to hop straight into that map number 2. And this sort of experience, like, this is the time when that experience really like kicks in, where you can like calm down, take a step back, and be like, oh, like it doesn't matter what happened just now. Right now, we just got to do our best. And I don't know, we haven't really seen Deviant Topaz in this type of position before.
Yeah, the pressure's definitely got to be hitting them because, like you mentioned, they're a team that's relatively new on the block, first time in playoffs, first time facing off against all of these familiar faces. And kudos to them that they managed to make it this far already, but it's gonna be a very, very uphill battle on Pearl. Of course, it's a map that they're not too bad at, which is their saving grace. But what we saw on map number 1, right, the cohesion that the entire RRQ squad had, and of course the raw firepower coming out of almost every single member, but in particular Ayumi and Aluka, it just seemed like it was very difficult for Deviant Topaz to really find answers to that kind of thing. When you saw RRQ play, especially during their defensive side on the map of Lotus, they were very controlled. They were happy to leave one part of the map open, but only after they took control and information on 2 other lanes. So because of that, there was just no potential for Deviant Bell to even like try to rotate, or find some other kind of advantage, because RRQ, they start things off right just like that. They find the information, they often get that first pick thanks to Aluka's antics. And on Pearl, which is a map that might necessitate even more control despite it only having 2 sites, especially with focusing on that mid, it's going to be very important for Topaz to step in and figure out what went wrong on Lotus that they can fix right now immediately.
Yeah, Pearl, also that big map, as you're talking about, mid control, I think, or just figuring out mid is going to be a very important point for both these teams. To look at the Asian composition, we do have Fade for Puda for the side of Deviant Topaz, appears to be what worked out for them yesterday, and then KO for Aluka as well. So I think RRQ Kaguya, they're very good at playing around with the flash from KO on the initiation, and that's how they actually did a lot of their very good early picks. But what do we think?
I completely agree with you. I really like watching Aluka on KO in particular. Of course, her initiation kit, it really, really helps to set up Ayumi for going in for those fast, heavy entries. But even aside from that, I really like RRQ Kaguya's comp in general. They really use that KO Sova combination well to just pincer out information across the site, across both of the openings. For example, if they want to go into that A side, they manage to take control of both art as well as backside so often before getting that spike down. So really info heavy comp that they excel at running. However, for Deviant, like you mentioned, we did see them play this comp against GE Phoenix yesterday, and they were pretty successful by all measures. In particular, Puda, very, very impactful with that fade, really useful for breaking up that post-plan setup that you so often see coming in. Those Prowlers can be insane at mitigating those crossfires, and I think that if they could use this initiation utility in conjunction with Tub to set Tub up for those kind of kills, it might be what they need.
Yeah, I know we talk a lot about how Deviant and Topaz are very good at getting advantages in those eco rounds, but another thing that they've shown that they're very good at is being able to play those retakes very well in general. Like, their retakes are always executed like very cohesively as a unit, and they're also pretty smart at playing those fast retakes. So with this type of Asian composition and the fact that they're starting out on defense, I think, you know, they've got a couple of tools in their kit, but I think it's really going to come down to the wire if they can perform. How do we feel, especially, you know, RRQ Kaguya starting on attack? I mean, that's what they're known for.
It's what they're known for, and I know there's only one duelist, but let's be honest. Let's be very honest. Aluka on a KO is basically a secondary duelist. There you go. I said it. That's the facts. You can fight me over it, but I stand by what I said. But it's gonna be very difficult for the rest of the squad to really contend with the sheer aggression that RRQ have made their trademark on this particular map with the agent comp that they're running. I think that's my take on it. So it's gonna be a lot of work.
Alright guys, well that's it for the panel, and here once more, of course, to bring you guys all the action for this decider for what could be the last map of series number 1. Of course, it's DNB. Guys, take it away.
She flipped it this time.
Yeah.
Huh? She flipped it.
DNB.
You heard that, right?
Dungeons.
DNB. Wow.
Dungeons and Black and Blue.
You're always there, my friend. But hey, we'll never fight Zach. You heard what Zach said. The KO is a duelist. I wholeheartedly agree. Come on. Zach is the master of APAC game changers, EMEA game changers. You know, maybe NA hit the rock to also cast there.
Mrs. Worldwide.
Miss Worldwide indeed. But I'm thinking about it, right? This is such a difficult situation right now for Deviant Topaz. This is going to be RRQ Kaguya's map pick. They're down a map, but they won this map before versus GE Phoenix. Can they do so yet again here now versus RRQ Kaguya and force out a decider? It's looking to be exciting. And one thing you notice from the compositions here, Black and Blue, different initiators for each side.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, even putting that aside, I think the biggest difference here is just historically how both of these teams have performed in a map like Pearl. And if you're a fan of Deviant Topaz right now, you have to be worried about where we're going to be setting on for map number 2. Pearl hasn't necessarily been the most shining example of what we've seen in the past from Deviant Topaz, and it has been one of the better stages for RRQ to try and win these type of series, and they've closed out many a series here on Pearl, and this could be one of them. They have one of the better statistical, storylines and stats and just histories here coming on Pearl, and it's going to be, I think, a very difficult thing. When you talked about the initiator change, what they've got on one side compared to the other, and that KO, that could really be a big lynch point that just shuts down any plans the opposition has.
Yeah, exactly. Deviant Topaz, they need to be careful. Ayumi and Alaka still gonna be a dual threat as per usual. The thing is, RRQ Kaguya, they've been very consistent at getting dubs here on Pearl. Their only kryptonites have been, of course, Team SMG and Full Sense Sapphire along the way. Every other contender, it's a win here for RRQ Kaguya. Can they continue on that statistic, or will Deviant Topaz do it again and force out the third map? All eyes yet again on Tub versus Ayumi. Tub can play a strong entry. Ayumi can do so as well. Fight on back. And we've seen from RRQ Kaguya, now that they're on the attacking side, they will set the pace of where to engage.
Let's see how things will really differ here. Fade versus Sky, different idea compared to the KO here, and that Sova. As we go on in, round number 1 of the second map commences as early mid-control trying to be fought over here by Deviant Topaz.
Yeah, it's pretty much intel versus clear potential, right? RRQ Kaguya, they want to know where Deviant Topaz will be stationed. Deviant Topaz, any committed corner, they can contest with the Flash, with the Prowler from the Sky, and the Fade, respectively. We do creep on over towards that B side where it's Yu-Chan awaiting. He's been stellar versus GE Phoenix on this angle before. Can she bring up the same kind of performance this time versus RRQ? Ayumi already priming the dash. The dart is there. The smoke getting... Oh, it's Yu-Chan even through the smoke. Realizes where Ayumi can come from. Gets that takedown to start things off. And at least that's one down that Deviant Topaz can work with.
A lovely shot here from Yu-Chan. Suppressed just to burn even more time off of them and keep him at bay just momentarily. But the push here now to come in from Deviant Topaz's retake. They have the player advantage for sure. No backhaul presence by RRQ. They all want to play long, which is a big risk knowing that Yu-Chan's still alive and can smoke off their angles.
Well, with the KO and the Sova, you'd think they have utility. Go for the lineups. Iceberg trying to go for the Aldrone now. The fragment is there for the stall as well. Alaka gets one Yuna with the trade, and it's still difficult here for Deviant Topaz to actually touch that spike, that utility, and that pressure. It's RRQ keeping tabs on the objective, and here comes the fire rage. And as soon as Deviant Topaz peek out, they are felled by RRQ.
Yeah, they all just congregate on the spike itself, which leaves no real chance for RRQ to miss or not connect on their shots. And then, as you talked about, they just have lots of utility for that post plant. I mean, actually, if you think about it here, they have so much more to throw in those post plants, right? They got the nano swarms, the one fragment, the gravity well, and then the shock darts. It's going to make it such a nightmare on the defensive side here for Deviant Topaz to try and get these retakes going. So if they can try and minimize how many post plant situations they find themselves in, then Deviant Topaz have a real chance here. They have to start getting themselves going early, though, and maybe even get first bloods most of the time.
Yeah, it's a quick realization, right? As soon as they see, oh, this composition is for that post plant, they now have to find these kills as soon as possible to help them out later on if ever that spike does get planted. It is a neutral state here for Deviant Topaz. They push and triplicate from A main, but Nabski's at the ready. And RRQ keeping tabs yet again of any angle of opportunity. There's the heal, but it's not enough to keep Tub alive. Nabski right now taking, stealing, and just finding those kills along the way. 3 down and A side's clear.
Very clean here from RRQ so far. You can see here Deviant Topaz wanting to put the fight to him, bring the fight to him rather, towards that A main, but simply do not have the firepower to stand toe-to-toe. Nabski nabs a fourth.
He wants it.
The ace.
He wants it.
She's on pace.
Maybe. If Bess can find Puda right now, they're looking for her. And RRQ so confident in how they look. Compared to when they face up against Sapphire, this is just what RRQ is all about. The ace comes for Nabski. See, in the night, well, in broad daylight, she just takes those lives.
The ace for Nabski.
Nabski.
Nicely done. And in quick fashion too as well. And the way that she just absolutely beats into it here towards that A main, simply taking off of any kind of idea that Deviant Topaz wanted to try and commit to. A good way to get her started, and as well builds that lockdown early for this early part of the half. Deviant Topaz, will they try to be active once more, or
Find you.
do they bunker down? Seems like the former is their option.
And to no surprise, RRQ Kaguya swiftly taking that A main position. I don't think they're gonna wait to give the orb to Navsky right now. They're holding that position along the way. Spike in the clutches of Iceberg instead. So actually, Navsky gets the orb. Navsky's 2 away from the lockdown, something we've been looking forward so
planted.
far. But RRQ watching the main angle and the flank potential from Deviant Topaz. Many angles here, many opportunities for Topaz, but not the numbers they would like. Puda on the board, sure, but Iceberg with a quick straight 3v3 now. The aggression from Ayumi is unexpected. The Toffee Waffy will be found. The Aldro now scouting out the opponents, knows exactly where they are. The tag is there, and Yu-Chan will be found. Ayumi on the board again. She's just so quick on these aggressive angles. And Ayumi getting ready. The rest of RRQ are there to reinforce, and Alaka's the one to deal that final blow. A bonus one by RRQ, looking just so pristine so far.
Yeah, this is what we want to see from RRQ, right? They know they have lesser weapons. Let's push the envelope. Let's try and break those boundaries and be ready for the trades if it ever does come. You see there, like with that contact, Alaka just at the ready as well to swing if ever it does come towards Art. And RRQ looking more confident than ever is the real thing. You can tell that from that round number 2 where they're trying to fish for the ace for Nabsky. But as of the moment, it's Deviant Topaz who have been biting hook, line, and sinker to every idea that RRQ throws in the pond.
Yeah, just expect what's coming their way. They've really scouted out Deviant Topaz well. And not only that, with the extra intel that they can provide with the KO and the Sova, it's even easier for them to find these small angles Deviant Topaz is working from and catch those solo players in the act. It's that split approach that Deviant Topaz loves to try and run for different opportunities and just rely on their frag potential from that point on. A split instead here from RRQ, mostly coming in from the arc position. Toffee Waffy playing dugout. It's a pistol round here for Deviant Topaz, and you can know that Yu-Chan is still a threat. Toffee Waffy, the same kind of face. Eco Warriors yet again looking sharp and ready, but Alaka fighting back. Mid now contested, but Tub so quick! And that's Alaka down. 4v2. Guns being picked up here by Deviant Topaz. A chance with the position still on site. They even have Secret right now to work with. And it's up to Iceberg to be that big surprise. Creeping now, moving into Link. This is dangerous for Deviant Topaz, and Iceberg takes advantage. There's the first belt. 2v3 for now. Lockdown's there too, and Napsky Blade Protector. It's all Napsky now holding down the line, forcing Toffee Waffy off site. And RRQ, they always have that plan B. They always have that second option at the ready. They're keeping tabs of Deviant Topaz again and again, putting the pressure, and it's just Toffee Waffy fights back, can't get the transfer going. 4-0 here for RRQ.
That has got to be a heartbreaker. In a 4v2, they turn it around. And now to you, RRQ, say they're looking to run away with this game and this series. Off a momentum like that, it's undoubted that these girls are just in such a more confident position than Deviant Topaz are. They've got a buy coming on in here, but you see, as soon as Iceberg just gets a 1 kill, finds Yuna, everything just crumbles at the seams. They're pressured to push because of the lockdown, and Nabsky waiting in place. She just sinks him down to the bottom of the sea.
And it's just a desperation move now here for Deviant Topaz. Toffee Waffy on the operator. They have the guns to fight on back, but what we've seen so far, not just on this map alone, but this whole series, RRQ looking like the RRQ Kaguya that we know and love. Sharp yet again, Best gets the first. He's now pushing towards main. Maybe heard even Yu-Chan picking up the orb. The flash is there, but no contest. Deviant Topaz retreats.
4v5. All hope is not lost. The beauty of the operator is that it's one of the best weapons in finding a pick-off here and go untraded. Try and equalize things back up into player count. But is that opportunity even going to present itself? They are looking to pivot here towards B, possibly, and that's where the op is stationed, and that's where Toffee Waffy could maybe do her damage, but they do smoke her off. It's going to be difficult to try and even get an angle here, so Deviant Topaz, another difficult spot. The plant should go down unguarded.
Yeah, Best again on point with the smokes. Always this top smoke helping out RRQ with the plant that they would like. Buddha though gets a find. Yu-Chan also winning versus Navsky. So the fight back is there, but Alaka will silence that immediately. Link held by Alaka. Toffee Waffy might peek things out. Watching the angle. There's the swing. It's wide, and Alaka still gets the hit anyway. Precision truly. And Best, is this gonna be it? The knife is out, and condolences to you. Best again and again. Brilliance from her with the angles, and it's 5 now for RRQ.
Yeah, it really broke down when Alaka was able to get that kill from both of the kills actually from B-Link, and they did a good job initially of with the haunt here, kill the diffuser, rather kill the planter, and then also get the follow-up on the flank coming from B-Link, but ultimately enough, Aluka just stepping up, one of the, I think, most also storied kind of younger prodigies that we've seen for years now in the APAC FPS scene, and this is why she's always been one to look out for.
Yeah, a prodigy with this much experience by this point. Sign me up for the RRQ Kaguya experience. Toffee Waffy gonna get suppressed yet again. RRQ knows exactly where Deviant Topaz is stationed. And just the amount of intel making it difficult for Deviant Topaz to play rat positions that they would like. Case in point, Toffee Waffy already exterminated. It's RRQ doing the same kind of setup towards his B site. Now they plant a little bit further for the longer position. Nightfall though is the answer. Can Deviant Topaz capitalize? Tub gets one, but it's not gonna be enough yet. Ayumi with the catch, with the trade. It's all RRQ yet again. 4v2, difficult for the Bucky and the Stinger to get even close by this point. The angle's taken by RRQ, playing keep away, playing smart. The smoke is gone, and Yu-Chan will be found too. It's all RRQ here, and just such a case in point scenario of what RRQ can be here in the game changer scene.
Puda, it's all on her, but this round is done. You talked about this is the kind of look that we've been waiting for from a team like RRQ. What they can be, what they should be, is a real darn thing. They're finally looking like it. We haven't seen this type of performance throughout this entire tournament. Even in some of their wins that we've seen in the lower bracket against Anomaly, yes, they did take it 2-0, but one would argue that even though like those games went 13-6, 13-4, you can see a very different air of confidence under this squad right now that just wasn't present there. Maybe shaky moments where they turned rounds around that they were starting to lose and come back into, but this is just an RRQ show all the way through.
Yeah, shaky moments, you'd say that. I dare say it was a shaky year here for RRQ. And right now, this is the confidence boost that can really rejuvenate the run moving forward. If they can seal the deal on this map, it'll be even better for what comes next year for RRQ. Deviant Topaz, though, we're not seeing the usual flair that we expect from them. We know the potential is there. We know that they're good at getting the catch onto RRQ, especially if they get the right spam angles. But many a time, we've seen from Deviant Topaz, they're forced to back on away because of Iceberg, because of Aluka's presence, because of Bess, especially with her smoke setting things up for RRQ. And the utility, the composition RRQ has right now is throwing such a big wrench in the plans of Deviant Topaz that they can't find the footing that we've seen from them.
How do you even find your footing when the very floor you step on, the very foundations you're trying to build upon are already pretty slippery and difficult to mend to your own needs? Deviant Topaz, this is not the best battleground for them. This is not their favored stage. They picked map number 1 to go their way, Lotus, but could not do not much. And Ayumi, oh, sees catches her here, but there's nobody really ready for the punish. They give up the site instead.
Yeah, Deviant Topaz is afraid right now to swing it out, even with the catch. The flash is there, but Puna doesn't take advantage. Suddenly she gets one. RQ with a quick trade along the way. Yu-Chan, Smoke Criminal one more time. Dissipates to get that takedown, and it's Ray for the time being. Equalize odds. Iceberg, though, in ground zero. She's trying to fight. Gets a bit of intel with the Aldro. The Cosmic Divide is there too, and does Deviant Topaz dare swing it. The Nova Pulse gets a connection, but Alka and Bess already holding down the lanes. Well done by RQ to protect the Spike Planter. They back on away as soon as the objective is there. And Toffee Waffy in a 1v3, so difficult. The silence absolutely deafening here, Black and Blue. The Operator in hand too. Might be a save. There's the parting gift with a kill onto Bess. But that's all she'll get by this point. A re-peek into Flower. Does she even consider going back to the site? Seems like that's not the case. It's RRQ making it 7-0 right now.
He's been incredible throughout this run so far, but individuality just not being enough to shine here against this RRQ squad who know how to play in the dirt, know how to get rough and tough. In a scramble like that where Deviant Topaz could maybe come out with a round. It's Toffee Waffle. She's being hunted right now, but she should be safe here up in the heavens. It's going to be our only saving grace. A momentary bit of respite as right now there's very little bite in their game.
Yeah, don't worry. Tomato, tomato. Pronounce it the way you'd like.
Potato,
my friend.
potato.
Oh, true. Onion rings.
Onion rings.
Better. Yeah,
I like onion rings. I'm an onion
I
ring
know.
over fries guy.
I know. I like hash browns more, but I would love to see Deviant and Topaz find this recovery. I think the biggest concern right now is if Deviant Topaz played anti-GE last time around, RRQ's kind of playing anti-Deviant Topaz, not just in this map, but also in the first map along the way. As of right now, we're not getting the pillars, the foundations that Deviant Topaz was able to rely on in their first lower bracket matchup. And instead, RRQ sets the tempo and sets the angles where they play from. Iceberg leading the push though towards doors. Breaks the turret, has a shock dart to go for the clear as well. Corner being held here by Toffee Waffy. She has the judge in hand and it's perfect now in this angle. 2 down for Toffee Waffy. It's Napsky though with the find, with the trades. And it's a 2 casualty marker for both sides towards Link. A push towards B instead. This is dangerous. Yoon is the one holding it down. Maybe that backhaul position can be a big surprise here towards RRQ. But the suppress gives the intel. The swing is forced on out. Yuna now gonna get hunted down and taken down. It's RRQ yet again. Just getting kill after kill. The answer back though for Puda. The trades, courtesy of Deviant Topaz, making this round winnable. Possibility from the high ground. Tub is there too with the operator. And it's all left to Navsky now. Close encounter, but Tub still wins it with a classic. Deviant Topaz, they need the win and they get it here.
Finally a round that they're able to respond to. Started off as well with Toffee Waffy holding down that B link with the judge getting to. Great recovery by RRQ here though. Aluka starting things off there, and then the follow-up as well of Iceberg, rather Bess, to get the kill, bring it to a 3v3, but when it came to the site itself, you can see just a player like Tub finally shining the way that we know she can. Bright like a topaz.
You've been waiting to say that one, haven't you?
Nah, it's off the fly. Don't be hating on my puns.
I thought you wrote that down and put it in a sticky note and say, I'd say this when Deviant
Look,
Topaz wins
I
a
don't
round.
have a bank of jokes like Asarai might, but
Okay,
it comes out
okay.
every
Well,
now and then. Ayumi though.
Well,
Comes out
well,
with
well,
one.
well. Of course, that's a Yumi for you. The up trap too. They know Toffee Walk is there. And the wall bags even to flush her and find her out. Goodbye to 2. It's a chance now for RRQ. They move towards a flower being held by Yuna, but yet again, Best with the setup. The Nebula in position to allow RRQ to cross accordingly. That hesitation right now, Deviant Topaz wondering who did their push, because RRQ always keeping tab of any lane that Deviant Topaz can work from. The suppress yet again, gets value, gets intel. Deviant Topaz has to hang back and slowly crawl their way towards the site. The operator's there, and look at Bess go. She's on the lurk at the ready. You also have Iceberg in position for the Hunter's Fury if ever. RRQ setting up so many win conditions right now in this round. Yu Chando fights back. Aluka found now. Tub with the tap, but the Nano Swarm as well as the Gravity Well are there. Utility being used. Iceberg is there's peak, and Deviant Topaz actually getting the kills. Bit by bit, dismantling RRQ, but Ayumi still there to stand and fight. That's enough, Deviant Topaz says. They back away, save some guns, because this is RRQ yet again with a win.
They get some kills, but ultimately the round still goes to RRQ, who just looks so much more clean right now. Yeah, they lost some players in that post plant, but it didn't really amount to much because they just had a much better position to secure the round anyways. And Ayumi, she is super stellar right now. And for a lot of these teams who just don't have the same experience against playing at this level of play, at the caliber that they're, playing against, they just struggle to really find a way to shut her incredible mechanics down. It's only really been Full Sense who have been able to put a stop to it in some sort of fashion, and everyone else, Anomaly, and now here Deviant Topaz, falling prey, falling victim to one of the most hot-handed players we've got in the entire scene for APAC.
Yeah, hot hands and the richest history, right? Championship caliber team, RRQ Kaguya, it cannot be understated. But while we have time in the technical pause, I think really that's the biggest concern for Deviant Topaz right now, that indie experience is showing up here compared to their last matchup versus GE Phoenix. When they're facing off against a team like RRQ Kaguya, it's one of the biggest, baddest, strongest opponents that they've had here in their whole open run. Even if you look at the Swiss stage, the competition that they had isn't the teams that we have here right now in the playoffs. And yes, better late than never, right? it's great to see Deviant Topaz here perform well, make it now to the next round of the lower bracket and fight versus RRQ Kaguya. But getting this experience at the very tail end of the open circuit, you can use it perhaps for LCQ, but as of right now, RRQ is taking advantage of every single moment that they can.
I'm sure. I mean, RRQ, not gonna even go through LCQ at this point. I think they're already pretty secure.
They're in.
Yeah, they're in. There's only one slot left remaining, right, for Elite, at least in terms
And-
of this tournament.
Yep.
Am I mistaken?
It's for Deviant Topaz if ever they make that run. If not, it's GE Phoenix instead. So if you are a GE fan, you're probably cheering on RRQ to just eliminate Deviant Topaz by this point. Everyone else is set. So we have SMG, we have Orangutan, we have
RRQ.
we have Sapphire, of course,
Yes.
and now we have
Scythe.
Sight. So that's 5. I think I kind of misordered some of them in the middle,
Yeah.
but yeah. So we have those 5. We're probably gonna get a 6th after this series unless Deviant Topaz makes that incredible comeback a possibility. So it's an interesting landscape, right? We've seen so much consistency from the teams that we're gonna get into Elite from the open stages. They're always there, showing up when they need to the most. They're always there to perform, especially on stream. And as of right now, RRQ, a shining example of one of those teams.
Really?
No way.
You wouldn't
You know
say
what,
so. With an 8-1
you wouldn't say it.
scoreline?
Yeah, and you know, a team that dominated the early parts of the Game Changers APAC scene, even before it was Game Changers. You know?
Ooh.
What a surprise, right?
Wow. I mean, RRQ, we know what they've done, but isn't it a curious thing that Deviant Topaz, if they don't win the series, even if they beat GE, you'd still be taking the slot over them?
It's again better
It
late
is.
than never kind of
Yeah,
situation.
like-
They finally made it in Open 3. I am honestly a little surprised that they got points from Open 1 as their, what was it, like Clark Phoenix or whatever?
Yeah.
I forgot the team name from before, but this squad, Deviant Topaz, they really formed up in Open 2. They did good in the Swiss stage, not enough to make it to Open 2. They did better now, and they look better than ever compared to before. But this
Yep.
is
I mean,
this is a juggernaut facing off against them, so you can see the struggles here.
it's like RRQ, their win here would just... It's almost funny how it benefit another team, but there's a reason why they call some of the best the Avengers and not the Defenders. So in that case,
So what is that? What's that supposed to mean? Okay, Captain America.
it's like they're not defending their slot, or defending global, but they are avenging them in the end.
In the end, okay, I see.
I get that
I really
reference.
love.
I could do it all day.
Okay. Go
Okay.
ahead. Okay.
They got ults though,
What?
Deviant Topaz, if we're gonna get back to the game.
No, we're not yet.
Not
Don't worry
yet?
about
Okay,
it.
we move on.
Not yet. So,
So,
and I think you agree with me on this.
yeah, no.
Toffee Waffy, best name
Yeah.
of all the players so far.
Yeah.
Number one. No question.
I mean, we've seen Toffee, Waffy, some clutches yesterday. Just, it hasn't come today. It's one of the more creative and for sure, I'm not sure if entertaining is the word, but endearing names, I think, would be
I love
more
it.
appropriate.
That's it.
Yep.
Like whenever I'd see a multi-kill from Toffee Waffy, you see the kill feed right at the side and just like, you just got slain by Toffee Waffy. That's a brand. That's a mark that you'll remember forever. That's a name that you'll remember. And even Topaz, if they want to be memorable here and more so, this is the pivot point that they need to work on. But I guess if you talk about how Team Topaz has been playing, I think the biggest concern they have as a team is they're put in these eco states a lot more compared to other squads. And I mentioned it yesterday. I think I mentioned it in the map prior as well. And it's just because that they're so strong with shares, so strong with pistols, that they're able to kind of cover that up. But when it comes to the rifles, it does become a bit more chaotic and a lot more unsafe to their liking in the long run. And teams like RRQ are taking advantage of that fact.
Well, isn't that the whole thing about RRQ? You just have so much more experience and intuition about how these games have gone, where they've played multiple different scenarios in the past that they know what works against what, especially against a team who hasn't had that experience. And we keep on harping back to the experience because it's really the big defining factor of all the best teams we have right now in the circuit. Arguably,
it is.
it's SMG and RRQ and Sapphire, and those are the 3 most experienced teams who have been here since the beginning of the Game Changers APAC scene in general, and you can really see how they have separated themselves from the pack. It's those 3, and then the rest of everybody else trying to play catch up. One could argue Orangutan are also in that conversation, but longevity is a different thing.
Yeah, exactly. They're in the caliber of play, yes, but Orangutan X is a bit more different because it's some of the stories of other players coming together, right?
Yeah.
Because that roster has been very much so modified, even in between Open 1 and Open 2 with the addition of Emmy along the way. But we're done with story time, and we're back into the game. RRQ Kaguya quickly from the tech boss, already taking command of the round. Ayumi all confident and all in on the inside of the museum. Moving towards CT even. Yu-chan might have something to say about this, but she's backing away. 2 hero rifles in the hands of Deviant Topaz. The struggles right now for Deviant to actually move forward. They have a pinch potential from main. There's the clash, and Nabsky will be found. Yu-chan on the board. Can she get more, though, along the way? Ayumi still popping up, popping the heads. Alika's there, too. And while Yumi's around, you know, Alika will come in, also blitzing with the action. Alika with another one. It just never ends. Alika, Ayumi, it's all about the connection between them. And there you go. They get all the kills in that round. The duo dynamic, and another win here for RRQ.
Well, maybe another 9-3 half for Deviant Topaz, but one that they can actually convert.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's possible because they move over to the attacking side, and I feel like from what we've seen on their Pearl, that can suit them better. Toffee Waffy looking for that mid control, Yu-chan playing the lurk, Tob playing the entry. That's something that Deviant Topaz can build on in the future. But presently, they're in trouble, Black and Blue. They have a Stinger, they have a Bulldog, a few rifles to work with. And as of right now, they're stacking mid, trying to see where the contest will come from. But because of this, RRQ immediately going for the site, absolutely confident that they can clear out these ankles with the intel, and Ayumi dashing in yet again. Yu-chan, is she ready? Hopping around like a bunny and hunted down along the way. RRQ with the first kill on the board. Deviant Topaz has to back off for now. Oh,
whoa, okay, denying the plant here. I thought they would have made it. Lockdown to try and buy them space. Lockdown for lockdown here, Dax.
Here we have it yet again, a Ven's Iron set on up, and RRQ needs to respect this. The Null Commando is the play, Yumi critical HP, and Yuna will take advantage of that fact. Space made here for Deviant Topaz, but Nabsky still the long ankle to get the job done. 3v3 for now. We've seen this before from RRQ. They're stalled a bit though by the Detain. Getting ready with the lineups. This is perfect for RRQ. They're safely away from Deviant Topaz, and it's DP who has to push. The Seekers are there though. Intel also from the Haunt. Can they capitalize with that knowledge? Cover though is perfect here for RRQ, and left and right, bob and weave, and Alika yet again looking to be the champion of the world in the fight. Punches left, right, and center. The jabs are perfect. The shots are even better. It's RRQ now moving to double digits.
Puda just, it's so insurmountable, the odds that she's placed there in the 1vx, 1v3 in this case. They're looking good for the meantime. The lockdown for lockdown though. A lot of times when you're the first one to budge, when you're the first one to blink, it's kind of like a staring match. You lose. You place your lockdown first. If they have their lockdown as well, and they're in a good position to nullify that, they, you know, just wait a few seconds, maybe 3, 4, 5. That's more than enough to kind of nullify the amount of space that your lockdown would give you, because you can't really push in. They got a lockdown of their own. And Deviant Topaz here, just, they're facing an opposition that they just have never come across, aside from maybe SMG. And we saw how that went. You can see just the amount of complexity that RRQ have in their game is really becoming a problem for the more one-dimensional Deviant Topaz play right now here in Pearl.
Yeah, it's just, again, inexperience hurting Deviant Topaz in the long run. They faced off against Orangutan X once in Split 2 Swiss stage. You mentioned it, SMG. Now we get RRQ, and they haven't found the same kind of success we've seen so far from them. Maybe a chance, though, in the last round of the first half. The Blade Storm at the ready. Tub. Can she go dynamic and find those kills along the way? A beat push though, the protocol yet again from RRQ, slower this time because they're holding on to the operator. And a spread out defense to boots. Iceberg now creeping closer and closer. Does RRQ play the timing of the smoke instead? The gravity wall's there. Ayumi with dash on in. Top into the corner, flashed up, and Bess Brilliance yet again. 2 down, but Yuna's still alive. Over onto the corner. Ayumi with the clear, but Yuna still standing tall and still standing strong. 3 for Yuna. The fight back is there here from Deviant Topaz. But
30
Navsky
seconds
has
left.
another plan. Ready now. They just
they don't
get
know.
in the middle. Do they realize the Trailblazer is broken so quickly, and Navsky takes advantage of the situation? Well executed here by RRQ, but a better shot from Puda now. 1v1, Navsky versus Puda. Knows exactly where she is, but the timing! She went for the Nano Swarm, but Puda does it better with a swing. The clutch comes in a second round for
Switching
Deviant
sides.
Topaz to end the half.
It works out for Deviant Topaz. Once again, after losing most of the half, they come back with a final round of the half, but is it going to be too little too late? Stall. It's a tall, steep hill to climb here for sure. And one that, on your way up, ascending, you can definitely stall out if you don't have enough to keep your pace going. For the meantime, though, I'm going to stop going, because the ones who continue the conversation will be our panel. How you guys doing?
Hey there, Black and Blue and Dax. We're doing fine. I think y'all said it best. RRQ just dictating the pace of this entire half. Zach, break it down for us.
Pretty much so, exactly what you said. They are controlling the speed of the game, start to finish. They decide what seems to happen when, and because of that, Deviant, they've been forced into this very reactive position where they kind of struggle. They lose their numbers and they're not able to like really bounce back into it. If you do look at how they did win 2 of the rounds that they did, the last one, of course, that we just saw came down to a 1v1. But the one before that, they were able to set Toffee Waffy up in that aggressive position with the judge to kind of find those crucial kills, and the rotation from Tub to be able to come around and be in the right place at the right time to get those final 2 kills. Really nice positioning coming out of them. A bit proactive, more proactive than we saw from them over the course of the rest of the game, which is what they need more of desperately.
10-2. We've seen Fnatic come back from worse. What else can DV pull out? What are we thinking?
It was technically 11-3.
Yeah. I didn't mean to bring back past trauma, but yeah, 15 seconds. What can DV do?
Well, they gotta start by winning this pistol. That's the easiest thing I can say. But with that side switch coming in on attack, they gotta play for more map control. And Tub, we saw the impact that she was able to have in that previous map, but she's gotta wake up more on that duelist role, especially with that double initiator comp. They gotta set her up for success, and she gotta go hunt. She gotta go find those RRQ players. It's not just Aluka and Ayumi. It has to be Tub too. You can do it, Tub. We believe in you.
All right, well, we're gonna find out if Toffee can serve up that waffy. Dax and Black and Blue, back to you.
Such an encouraging panel there, but truth be told, that's exactly what Deviant Topaz needs to do right now. Win the pistol and shine brilliantly from that point on. It's a long road ahead of them, and RRQ just a short distance to the finish line instead. Will we see the comeback, or will we see the completion courtesy of RRQ? We'll find out soon. 2-10 scoreline though, Black and Blue. So much room for error here for RRQ, honestly, to play a macro-oriented half along the way.
The pressure, I mean, I get that, but that's kind of the thing that we were talking about, right, during Lotus, that it's RRQs to lose at this point. All they have to do is play how they've been, and they should be able to, with disparity in terms of skill, kind of, and just as well experience, overwhelm here what Deviant Topaz have going to be trying. So, here Deviant Topaz, I think pressure is on them, because elimination at the cusp within 2 rounds.
Lower bracket, this is elimination time, and the first one to get that elimination along the way will be Tub. Panel shouted her out. Can she perform to the caliber we expect? Fortunately for her, Yumi will get her catching, or rather crossing towards the side. Bess is here yet again, and Bess has just been so good at holding down the line here for RRQ. Many a time through the smoke, many a time behind it too. 2v2 now though, in this situation. Yu-Chan, Toffee Waffy, trying to pivot, moving towards that A site perhaps, but already Navsky aware of what may come her way.
Has to be careful here. You can see that in 2v2s like this, it's getting caught unaware could be your biggest problem, but Navsky cannot connect the shot. Let's Deviant Topaz know where they're coming from, and still being aware though. They know where Navsky is. They're still looking for Iceberg. Tap the spike, looking for a reaction. They now know both of them are coming from the flower, but the only one to bloom is going to be Toffee. She does find the 1v1 as Iceberg taken down low.
Yeah, 10 HP, a single bullet will be enough. Deviant Topaz, still a bit of time to work with Toffee Waffy. Is she waiting for the contact? And the turret that can win it! But no, it's broken quickly. She gets the intel though. Still Iceberg, a dart to work with. Toffee Waffy moving into flower now.
Doesn't know.
Change up in the location. Does she know? That's the question. Iceberg trying to clear out these angles, but Toffee Waffy in a better position along the way. Gets the spot though! The timing could have worked out there for Iceberg. 44 HP left. Iceberg just sticking it. She knows she can get away with it perhaps. And there you go. Halfway done here for completion. RRQ lay down a bed of roses towards Deviant Topaz instead. What a way to win.
That hurts to watch. Would be a problem here right now for Deviant Topaz. A round that could have been theirs. Toffee Waffy gets that kill in the 2v2, but just kind of awkward positioning and timing here, putting herself in a difficult spot that just could not be turned around. And obviously Iceberg so much more composed in those situations due to her experience.
So different when you're facing off a team that has been there, done that, has gone the distance, have went to championship after championship. And we're seeing right now as RRQ set the standard like they used to from before. Nowski now on the retreat, knowing that she has to see that link control. But look who's at the ready instead. Iceberg here by dugout. The rest of RRQ playing over at flower. Topping off gets one. The overrun looking possible here because the Deviant Topaz. The full send though is not enough because Aluka will bite back. The Guardian Gaming does guard the sites, but it's not enough. As Ayumi instead is the only one still standing. Toffee Waffy low HP. Puda, she has armor to work with here, Black and Blue, so the Marshall isn't gonna get that insta-kib if it isn't a headshot. Spike planted now towards the backside. She knows though, Ayumi is plotting out the jumping along the way. The Prowler's out, and Puda with a wide swing to get the hell out of there. The tag is there, and now she can pick up an automatic gun. The Stinger out and about, ready to go for closer contact. Flappers into play. There is the tag, and there's the spray down. They line up for her, and it's all Ayumi here. 12-2 as RRQ are on match points.
Anything and everything that could go wrong for Deviant Topaz. Absolutely turning the wayside and being shut down. So unfortunate in these 2v1s, so could not close it out. And how do you even regain the heart to come back in this? 10 rounds separate them. 10 rounds that they have to play perfectly. And 10 rounds is a daunting task to come back against this team.
And just pristine instead from RRQ. Aluka always threat. Ayumi, the same kind of case. And RRQ, again and again, surprising Deviant Topaz with the swiftness of their execution. Whether it's on the attack or the defense, Black and Blue, it's always RRQ who sets the tempo versus Deviant Topaz. And DV, they're forced to follow along the way and just react accordingly.
I mean, what other choice do you have? You try and establish the pace of the game, but RRQ simply will not budge. They simply will not follow. They refuse to lose in these type of situations, 1v1s, 2v1s, and they're finding the proper solution to whatever problem is proposed. And Deviant Topaz just, whatever run they have here, I hope they don't feel like it's been invalidated, because they've certainly been impressive, but you can see that there really is levels to teams like RRQ, teams like Sapphire, SMG, and as we talked about, Orangutan starting to be in a conversation where they have so much more experience in separating themselves from the rest of the pack. Deviant Topaz, as valiant as they can fight, it isn't over till it's over.
It isn't, but you can see already the writing on the wall if RRQ can keep on going. Confidence abound, and Ayumi strikes first. Tub is gone. It's difficult here for Deviant Topaz to play the speed that they would like. And here we have it now. 4 of them sticking around towards B still, waiting for opportunity behind the smoke, but RRQ just commanding in their presence right now.
Initiated.
Well, they have no choice but to simply obey every single command of RRQ right now. They get the opening pick. Oh, that's going to destroy it as well. Nothing they can do about it. Stun? Okay, that connects. They knew that's where the fallback would be due to the lockdown not reaching that place, but as they try and push on in, you can see they're just They can feel the threat of RRQ looming and holding down the angle.
And this is what RRQ is all about. Just the pressure. Absolutely unrelenting. This map looking more and more claustrophobic as Deviant and Topaz, their hand has been forced to go towards his B side, and Ayumi striking absolutely as hard as she can. Ice Cold Killer already finding 3. The rotate now from Deviant and Topaz as time is running on out. And look who's already active around the map. Best pushing towards main and waiting for the push. Alucado is so ready for this. Yet again, same angle, but not gonna be the same result compared to Ayumi. Ayumi with 4 and the ace to end it. Over the moon with that performance, and to the moon and to the next round here for RRQ. They bury Deviant Topaz with a commanding 2-0.
The Ayumi ace here today to close things out, and what a way to do so. Just spectacular in the way that they play, unrelenting in the pressure that they bring to the table, and absolutely impressive. It's about darn time that we get these type of performances from RRQ, and from them kind of showing the lower bracket that this is what they're made of. This is what we've been expecting for quite a while, and any team coming up their way, they might have just found new wind.
Yeah, this is a strong baseline right now from RRQ, and they just did everything correct here in this series. The shutdown of every single antic that Deviant Topaz could have relied on in a pinch. Yes, they were getting hit by share of shots, but that's pretty much the only saving grace we saw from Deviant Topaz. You mentioned it, Black and Blue. A stellar effort from Deviant Topaz to make it here in the first place, but they're gonna have to go through the LCQ. Our elite field is set from this point on. And of course, to break down that series, we'll throw it over to the panel to show how RRQ won it all.
That's the RRQ we know and love. You love to see it. Nature is healing, and Mother RRQ is mothering with this win. RRQ overcome. They're open to 5th to 6th place curse. Hey, come on. Am I wrong or am I wrong, Zach? Look.
You're always right. You're always right. It was just really funny the way you said it. But yes, Mother Nature healing in its truest form. Ayumi just slicing and dicing people apart with those knives at the end. An ace, 2 aces in fact for RRQ over the series. And if you think about it, right, they had a very dominant first half and an even more dominant second half, because it was 9-3 and then 13-3. Now 10-2 and then 13-2. So extremely dominant showing coming out of RRQ. Kind of what you want to see, the position you kind of want to see them in. Of course, their individual players on the previous map was Aluka in that MVP position. Now it's Ayumi. And with both of them being able to put up these kind of huge numbers, it's just very impressive as a whole how RRQ played this particular map. We talked about the control and the pacing of the game, but more than that, I really liked how they were always putting pressure onto Deviant. Time and time again, round and round again, their positioning and the kind of way they were trying to take these sites on attack were such that Deviant, they were just constantly caught in really awkward positions, and it was really unfavorable fights around the board.
Yeah, I want to give props to Yu-Chen as well too. This is, I think, her 3rd MVP across 4 games from yesterday as well as today. I mean, just doing her absolute best, right, in a series that didn't quite go their team's way. But taking a look at some more stats, post plant 10 out of 10 for RRQ. That perfect score.
I mean, the map score is 13-2. It's pretty much what you can expect. Of course, the couple of rounds where they went down, DV they put up a fight. They were really fighting for those sites. The one where you saw Toffee pop off with the judge, and of course the one that came down to a 1v1 the last round of the half, if I'm not wrong. So situations where RRQ couldn't get the spike down. Of course, DV it seemed like they had a chance, but RRQ, their executes were very pristine, very well prepared about it, and they didn't really need to deviate too much from the plan that was there. Even in that first pistol round that we saw, right? It was a 4v3 advantage towards Deviant, but RRQ, they just got the hell out of there. They went back towards that B long, and they played for those aim fights. And so far, at least today, I gotta say, aim fights, RRQ, they're winning 90 out of 100.
Yeah, Ayumi just
At
straight
least.
fire this entire series. Back at the MVP this time around on the Jet, 30.8 headshot percentage, KTA 3.4, and that whopping 353 ACS. 230 damage per round, really?
It's kind of low for Ayumi. No, I'm kidding. It's low.
Whoa. Look, that's only because we're comparing Ayumi to herself, right? That's only because
Exactly.
we're comparing her with like the best version of herself. Like comparing her to like
This is usual for a Yumi. It's just another day at the office. It's like nothing new. She's just like, yeah, okay, been here, done this. All okay, all good.
that's, you know what? I think you're right. She's probably looking at her own stats and being like, oh god, 230 really? Like I need to step it up, man. And her team's like, yeah, you know what? You need to step it up. Like we need to like go through this lower bracket run. I think that they do guarantee themselves the top 4 finish this time around, but they'll have to get through either Scythe or Orangutan tomorrow, whoever wins in the series coming up right after this, for a chance of getting that full sense revenge match. So definitely, you know, they've still got a pretty long journey ahead of them. I think crunch time is really going to come down to tomorrow when we've got 3 series for the day, but definitely we're seeing a lot of very promising things from RRQ. Of course, DV, you know, for a team who came into open number 3 saying that they actually have no expectations except that they wanted to have fun, they wanted to improve. They said that they actually didn't expect to like win many games in open 3, but then they somehow made it to playoffs, and I was like, whoa, yeah, dream big, man. I mean, it's getting y'all somewhere. Hopefully we will see more of this team at LCQ, because if they can get this together in 3
In 2
weeks,
weeks.
who knows how freaking good they're going to be by next month. Sky's the absolute limit. But guys, that's it for our series number 1 here today on day number 3. We've got another series coming up later on. It's going to be Scythe and WJ versus Orang Utan X. We'll see y'all in just a bit.
Spike down B. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Show me what you got. Back up, 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 back up.